All right, 4:50, let's go ahead and get the Drainage Committee meeting started. Let the records reflect that all members are present. Item number 1, request approval to replace Nicola costs on the Oak Ridge Gravity Drainage District number 8 with Ron Landry.
And that's RYAN. Go ahead, brother.
Oh, we
Not
changing stuff around?
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
I make a motion on that one.
Motion by Mr. Mathern, second by Mr. Blanch. All in favor?
Melissa, it's RYNA.
I got it.
Right.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Item number 2, request the approval of a submersible drainage pump at 1470 Highway 402, Ward 6. Mr. LeBlanc?
Yes, sir, that's a pump that's, at a residence that there's only 3 structures in that in that levee compartment, and there's only 2 of them that are livable. That's an issue that the jury has to make a decision on. That pump was originally bought for him over 15 years ago, before I was even in this job, so that's, he needs a new pump, so that's the jury's decision.
Yeah, we discussed this at the last meeting. We just didn't have the funding for it. I make a motion to approve the replace this pump. It's gonna be electricity and all, right?
Yes,
We did all the things.
we just delivered a pump.
I have to make a motion. I second that one.
All right, motion by Mr. Carter, second by Mr. Mathern. All in favor?
Paul, we need a CPA on that as well. Okay,
Any
so just get with
opposed?
me once you have all the information.
Yes, sir.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Item number 3, request the approval of the outfall on 7400 Highway 1, Ward 7.
That's 180 feet of 24-inch culvert that drains Highway 1 in the neighboring residence. It's actually rotted, collapsed on both sides. You can see where it's heat out on the roadway. The utility lines are exposed, so it's a viable project.
We have a total cost of $7,400. Motion by Mr. Blanchard, second by Mr. Carter. All in favor? Any opposed?
Just a question, Paul. I guess normal outfalls are give or take 10 foot, 20 foot. So, me looking at any outfalls down the road, I could figure $7,500.
Yeah, Jeff, the amount of price on culverts has drastically increased. That's a 24 inch. If it'd be 18, it'd probably have been $1,000, $1,200 difference. But yeah, it's the nature of the beast. Everything's expensive now. The labor's probably not gonna be that high. Just put that price in to cover it.
Right.
But whatever prices it costs are not incurred, Ms. Kim puts that back into the account. So you don't lose that money if we don't spend it.
No, I know it, but just several outfalls I have got issues with, so I could figure
Yes,
$7,500.
sir. You could, yes.
Roughly, okay.
Yes. It's
How far is
$30.
the next outfall to this?
I'd have to go back and look. I know it's
Ballpark, any idea?
they usually run between 500 to 800 feet. It's $30 a foot for 24-inch culvert. That tells you right there.
All right. Item number 4, request an update on drainage projects.
That's the first of the year. We really haven't done many because we're in our first full week. We've actually changed cross culverts on B&L Street, on West Street. That was in Ward 6 and Ward 5. We swept ditches on Lucky Street, Paula Street, Teddy Street, Foley crossover. We changed the damaged culvert that was impeding water on Halfway Road. That was a road and bridge project. And then we had the storm event. We had to remove some trees from a couple of roadways in the Supreme area. Also, we removed trees from Constant outfall yesterday and the day before. So that took a big portion of our workforce. Once these storm events pass, our workforce has to deviate from working on drainage projects and outfall projects and handle these issues with storm events. So I've talked to my general foreman. The next project we're going to concentrate on is Highway 403 and also the Millier project from Mr. Leroy Blanchard. That project has to have some work, some rework done on it. And also we hadn't finished digging the canal all the way back to the back of the drainage area to fix that problem. But 403 and Millier Street projects are going to be our next projects that we concentrate on.
When did these projects get approved? At what meeting?
What project you talking about?
These projects that you're talking about, the next projects on the list?
Millier Street was not a project approved. That's actually was a project that was supposed to be with road use funds that the contractor never did. So we've completed that project for the contractor that didn't do it when he overlaid that road. So that was given to me probably a month and a half, 2 months ago.
Right,
The
what
one
about
on-
the projects from last year and the year before?
Yeah, like 2 or 3 years from now ago. Is that books today? You and Jim.
We need to knock out these projects or take them off of the books, one of the two.
Oh, we need to hit them, we need to get them done.
That's what I'm saying, we need to knock them out.
Yes.
Let's get them done. Before we start any other projects, let's start from the oldest project and get it taken off of the books.
Yeah,
Let's
I
take
mean,
care of them.
You know, 60% of those projects on these is catch basins, and that's the issue I'm having with concrete.
We've been having that issue for
Yes,
3 years now.
yes. Yep. I had
So
got.
how
a
are we gonna
quote-
fix it?
I had a-
It's
I had-
time to fix the
I
problem.
got a quote from, 2 different contractors for 7 catch basins was $45,000. So I didn't even bring that to the jury. They actually went to build 2 of them the day the water was high. So we having water issues with that. So the other issue.
I
is-
don't wanna hear the water issue
Yeah.
as a problem, because whenever the water's low, that's when drainage projects needs to take place, Paul.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Chair, if I can, if I can say this, Mr. LeBlanc, at the next meeting, just come up with a plan of action, based off projects with catch basins, projects with outfalls, that are listed all on this list. Just come up with a plan of action on how you plan to address, each of those in I don't want to say a timeline, but
A timeline, we need a timeline.
well, timeline, but in order, based on how I think the best method is on how they were approved by this jury, based in the last calendar years.
Yes, sir.
Paul, would it be cheaper to have your guy work that can do the catch basin, work overtime and do them in the contract amount?
That guy is actually sprays mosquitoes. During his overtime, so that's the issue. I can put him because he works for me, but it's gonna affect Mr. Claymore's mosquito spraying. But you make a valid point.
We can find somebody to spray mosquitoes.
Yeah. So
Is that the same guy that's working across the bayou?
yes, he sprays the office side in the parish after 3 o'clock every day.
No, but I'm talking about like working on Saturdays, doing catch basins. You willing to do that, if it's cheaper to do it that way.
It is because the quotes I've got from contractors are ridiculous. They want $6,000 a piece to build a catch basin. There's no way we can afford that. It was like $42,000 for 7 catch basins. That's not, unless y'all want to pay that, I reject that myself.
Once you get off in the evening, the little time you got left before you get off, it's not much, so you have to be working on Saturday.
Pay him time and a half.
Yeah, pay him
Oh, you will,
overtime.
yes, so they will fall this time and a half, correct?
Just get it done, man. Right.
Well, he still needs to have a plan of action on how he's gonna go ahead and get it done. So that's why I've just, just given the recommendation of let him come back with a plan of action based on how everything was approved, because if your projects was approved before my projects, then yeah, your project should get done. You know what I mean? In that order, in that fashion. So that's just my recommendation. I'm not.
It'll be a whole year there for it then.
We still need planning and scheduling and drainage projects.
Well, you got 4 operators, 3 operators, 4 operators?
3.
You got 3 plus a foreman if needed?
With 2 of those operators on outfalls and they'll be there for the next 6 months. So that's the issue with that. They tie down to these large projects.
These large projects, is this project that should have been bidded out? That could have been bidded out?
Yes, sir. I thought that's what the Go Medicine money was originally for. But, we continue wanting to do stuff in-house, that's fine. And I guess I need to stop and just saying we can no longer do it in-house because then that ties up an operator.
That's it. If you can't do it in-house,
Yep.
bid it out.
Hire someone. Hire more people.
Keep saying hire more people, then you start hitting to the general fund with costs. This is Go Mesa
So if you
Fund,
go,
Go Mesa Fund, contract it out
Use that money.
and use that money to get the job done.
That's what I would.
You ain't
I
gonna
would
get
use that money.
the same amount of work done.
No, you're not gonna get the same amount of work done, but if you're using all the labor people to do these Go Mesa projects, then guess what? You won't get maintenance done,
Exactly.
Hire more people.
and then you're gonna be
You get it.
broke.
Yeah.
You're gonna be broke. How you gonna be broke by the
You
money that you
cannot pay
save
him, you cannot pay him out of
from
Go
a
Mesa,
contractor?
but you cannot pay him
Go
out of
ahead
Go
and hire a
Mesa.
contractor then, Mr.
It's
Carter.
going out of Go Mesa, what's
Yeah.
the difference?
What's the difference? You're trying to stretch money. If it be your money, you
You're gonna
wouldn't
stretch
spend
Go
it that
Mesa
way.
money, but you're gonna use all your general fund money on paying somebody else.
If it be your money, you wouldn't spend it that way, sir.
I hear you.
Right.
Contract
Item number
out.
5. Request on road and bridge work schedule and plan for 2024.
Well, I was just instructed to come with a plan of action for next meeting. I didn't have time to present it, to draw up anything, in the last 2 days with the storm event. Mr. Blankenship, right before we, dinner this afternoon, we added y'all to our, as a requesters to our civic program fund. That gives y'all access to put y'all work orders in and gives y'all updates on y'all projects. So, it's not a scheduling, but it gives y'all an access to how they proceeding. So
So
that,
you should have received the email from C-Click, and you have to register yourself on your cell phone. It's using your Assumption Parish email address. So you can actually go in, and if you have a project you want to request, you can implement it in the system, and all the appropriate people will see it.
This is it right here. I'm looking at it right
And then
here.
once it's in, either myself or
we have
someone
to
else
manage that
acknowledges
system
it.
to where we have to
and then it
continually
goes in and we
update your
can-
projects and let you know how they proceed. That's either gonna be Brian's job or somebody else in-house that we have to keep track of our projects that are being scheduled.
And this is day-to-day
You
operations
can do it
or?
every day. I told Paul I would come in and, sometimes at 7 in the morning and go through from 1 hour, 7 AM to 8. And then acknowledge the emails, and then if you put in a culvert at a particular driveway that you want done, then it prompts us to go out, measure the culvert size, go back in, and you can actually put that information into your request.
Continue to update your request.
And you can follow it.
But if we're changing our culverts and things of that nature, it still must be approved by this jury and
Right.
have a form of,
It's just a
measure to pay
request.
for it.
Depending on what
Just a
type of
request.
order it is. If it's a plug, if it's a work order request, yes, we can do that in-house. But if you're right, if it's a drainage project, that has to be approved by
Yes.
the jury.
Correct. There's a difference.
Unless it's a road and bridge
That
project.
is correct. That is also handled in-house. Road and bridge funding is,
But each of these projects in this program has an expected completion date.
You can put an expected completion date, and if the date changes, you can also modify it.
Right. So if it gets pushed out, then it would notify the requester.
That's
that
correct.
the date
It will
got pushed
notify
out
you that.
And the reason why it got
And
pushed
And you
out.
could actually look at because you can do it two ways. You can create a request, then I would create a work order. That work order implements into the system. You got an estimated date. If it pushes out and comes to you and the date got prolonged, I can go back in and actually change it physically. It's always gonna notify you if there's a change on the request.
Work orders estimated right now, going in 2024, how many are out there? Just estimate.
Oh, I don't, I'd have to look at, I could,
we don't have
I'd
that.
have to go into the system and look I mean, I know there's probably,
You say work order, Ron, that runs the gamut from buildings, from drainage, from,
Yeah, the whole-
culverts. That's our whole department. That's everything.
If there's a ceiling tile that needs to be
That's
replaced in the
correct.
building, that's a work order.
But that ain't coming from us.
No, but the
That's a work order.
You're asking
building,
about work orders.
Right.
right.
Can y'all start assigning work order numbers to these work orders?
Yes, it generates it automatically. We were using the system as a work order system. It generates your work order number, tags it to it. And then I can go in and modify and close it out and actually put a cost to it. And it'll show all that information and it archives it, and then you can go back and actually pull it and see what you spent. I'd like to put the man hours in it, but it's very hard to track that.
But shouldn't the foreman be tracking that?
Well,
Shouldn't the foreman be tracking that? Yes or no?
no, I agree. I mean, that's how we get our
Yes or
job
no?
estimates and our cost estimates, correct?
Okay. That way we can see where our time's going.
Yes, somewhat.
We have to be a member of that.
Yes, like Patrick would have to be,
Yes. There's some costs involved with that. I'm not even a member because I gave my membership to
you gave it
Brian.
to me.
It was like he knows that, like $10,000 or $12,000 more to add some more members. You know, we didn't come to the jury to ask for that money because we're trying to stretch it with the amount of members we have.
I don't remember if that's additional or total. I think we pay 6,000 a year or something right now for
And
it.
it's 5 total
Yes.
right now.
Every now and again, they have a deal where you can get unlimited for a cheaper price, but I mean, you can't just wait on that if you don't need to use it. I have to see exactly what the cost is.
Can you check into it, Justin?
And it'll take a little time to get adjusted to it as you requested and how it works, but I'll willing to help anybody as much as I can to understand it.
Any more?
Motion adjourned.
All right, motion by Mr. Blanchard,
Second.
second by Mr. Carter, all in favor? Any opposed? Meeting adjourned.
We'll call order the finance committee meeting. I'd like the record reflect that, Mr. Nakam, Mr. Alcorn, Mr. Carter, and Mr. Mathern are present, as well as myself. Item one, request approval to pay list of bills submitted through January 5th, 2024.
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Alcorn,
Second.
second by Mr. Nakam. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Request approval of fourth quarter review for Chamber of Commerce.
Good afternoon, everybody.
You know,
Afternoon.
I'm Tanya Pierre. I'm the Chamber Chair. This is Jennifer, Greta, and Cassie, and we're here to give our presentation for the fourth quarter payment. We had mentioned to you guys before that we were working on a new website. We have officially launched the website and continue to add things to it. It's a work in progress. We are trying to make it more user-friendly, but we have continued meetings for it to make sure that it's efficient. We're still trying to increase our Facebook followers on our new webpage. I think the last time we came on November 8th, we were at a little over 400. Now we are between almost 600 actually. We did not do a business spotlight in the month of December. We posted our chamber board Christmas card instead. And also for the months of January and February, we're not gonna post business spotlights. We're going to boost and market our banquet coming up next month. We will continue the business spotlight in the month of March. Speaking of annual banquet, it's approaching on February 22nd. Our guest speaker is Jason DeRuin, the Cajun Ninja. We'd like to thank you guys for the discount on the hall. It's greatly appreciated. We have interviews tomorrow afternoon with the caterers that have submitted bids for the banquet. So once those interviews are completed, we will have a caterer and can put out the reservation forms and everything for people to start registering for the banquet. Our Teenager of the Year scholarship applications, the deadline was this Friday. I think because the kids were out of school for so long, it kind of slipped by them, so we may extend it another 3 or 4 days just to get more. I talked to Mr. Bartholomew today, and I think it just got lost during the break of Christmas and New Year's. So we're gonna probably give that deadline a little extension. We do plan to interview all of the teenagers the last week of this month to make a decision so we can order the plaques. So basically it's crunch time for the banquet. We have a lot of work to do on it. It's about a month and a half away, and we'd like to see all of you there. And that is our report. Any questions?
How many applicants you received so far?
For Teenager of the Year? You really want me to tell?
I really want you to say. 3?
I think, is it Central Catholic? They do not have an Assumption Parish resident for this year that qualifies. It'll be next year. But the rest of the schools, I think we have one from Assumption High, one from Edie White, 2 from Assumption?
2 Assumption I have. and
2 Assumption and Edie White. So I talked to Mr. Crochet actually today, and he asked if we can extend the deadline. We're waiting to get the mail today to see if we got anything in. We got 1, so we're probably gonna extend that deadline.
Ms. Beer, did you have a chance to have a conversation with your board based off a conversation that you and I have had about support your local business weekend?
I did not,
Okay.
because I didn't know if it was official or
No,
not,
it ain't,
so.
we're still working. I just thought you might have kind of shared wanted to try to get some brainstorm and get some other ideas too as
I
well.
did not because of this. We have the caterer interviews tomorrow,
Okay.
so we really need to get moving on that. But if you want me to share it.
No, we're gonna wait.
No, if you
That's
want me to
meant-
share it with them,
Yeah,
I
you
will
can share it with them because
them
they may have some
after
other
our
ideas too
interviews
as
tomorrow. I
well.
will do that
Yeah.
after our meeting tomorrow.
And y'all-
But I didn't know
y'all-
if you were ready for me to do that.
I'm getting there. I'm not ready yet. I'm just.
We're always ready and willing to help. I think it's a good idea, and I will talk to them after our meeting tomorrow.
Okay, will do.
All right,
We'll be back in touch.
thank y'all.
Motion to approve for fourth quarter report from the chamber.
Motion to approve fourth quarter, report by Mr. Alcorn,
second.
second by Mr. Carter. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Report is funded.
And funding. There you go.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Request approval of travel for Register of Voters in Tennessee, February 21st to 25th, 2024, in the amount of $1,500 for CERA training.
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Nakam, second by Mr. Carter. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Request approval of the 2024 fire protection contract renewals with all individual fire departments.
Motion.
Motion by Mr. Mathern,
Second.
second by
You went through
Mr.
it,
Carter.
Leroy, did you go through it?
Yeah, there were no changes. We have a motion by Mr. Thurn, second by Mr. Carter. All in favor? Opposed? Motion carried. Request approval of CPI increase with Wage Pro contract effective July 1st, 2023. So this is the first I'm hearing of a
Wow,
CPI
it's-
increase.
See, probably because they did us a favor, they ain't charged us the first 2 years, part of the contract. We, the other hauler hit us with it, but they didn't do it for the first 2 years. But it's, July 1st is automatic. Automatic. For the first 2 years, they didn't actually charge us, come to us, so they saved the parish a lot of money.
What's the percentage?
I don't have that percentage in front of me, that whatever the national CPI index was that for that particular year. Yeah, that.
Can you get ready for next year?
So gentlemen, Ms. Kim asked that I just let y'all know, by them going retroactive back to July 1st, this will cause us to have an audit finding because we will be out of budget compliance.
We don't do it then.
It's 5.5%.
Well, that was,
Yeah, I guess I'm just not understanding why this is the first we hear of it, and that we'd have to be retroactive to July 1st. And
the contract. Part of the contract. But I don't know, as we shouldn't have to retro, we don't retro pay back anybody. So come July 1st, they say, hey, we're gonna charge y'all for your CPI. They charge you for your CPI, but, every year, they got the fuel charge, CPI, landfill. You got all part of the expenses, all part of the contract. That can go.
Okay, so that,
Okay, isn't the landfill, something different? From my understanding, I think those rates have went up too as well. With, dispersal at the landfill, that the landfill rates went up. I think it's within our contract too as well.
Right.
If that go up, then we have to raise that too as
What
well.
contract you talking about?
Come on, with Wage Pro. With Wage Pro contract.
I guess the question is, we don't have a problem with the increase. We know we gotta pay the increase, but it's just that they want us to go back to 2023 July, and they never presented to us till right now.
right, in our books of 2023 have been closed.
Understand.
Yeah, they
Right.
closed.
Well, they're not closed, but the budget is closed.
Right.
So they waited till December to bill us back from July for the increase. Like we received bills for July through December, but the increase did not appear until the December bill.
Start paying in December then.
No, we don't retro
January.
that. We don't.
What was the increase on that bill? Melissa?
It's 93.25.68 per month,
93.65.
9,325.68 per month.
Did that amount from 12/1 to 12/31, that
That's the new
170,
amount.
that included that?
That includes the
The
increase,
addition.
yes.
Part of the contract, but I don't agree with paying back to
No,
July. I'll make a motion that we start January 1, 2024 with the CPI.
They billed us in December, right?
Yes, they did bill us for
I
it
mean, I
in
think we should make
December.
a motion to start when they bill us in December, but no.
That 1 month would not cause us an issue, but 6 months will definitely cause us a budget compliance
Understood,
issue.
understood.
Starting December. I make the motion.
I'm with you though, Jeff. They're asking for the increase this month. I don't see how we still even go back retro 1 month.
No, they billed us in December for it. We just didn't have them.
No, they billed us for December. I'm
But
saying
the
is that the
invoice date was
January bill would be
December.
the new the new rate. This is-
Yeah, I'll say effective January 1,
Yeah, January one.
effective
Yeah.
today, you know.
And if they want to come here and request the additional amount, that'll be disputed, then fine. All right, so a motion on the floor by Mr. Nakam to make the CPI increase effective January 1st. Second by Mr. Alcorn. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Request approval to replace backboards in Murray Park, Ward 4.
So this was actually an ongoing project. Previously, we had the goals actually taken and sandblasted and painted. And the backboard frames, one was severely damaged, so it was rebuilt. It's in our warehouse in the back. To complete the project, we need to approve to get the glass or the Lexel that would go in there and finish it out. We did two previously, and these were the second phase, the next two. So we do have a little work left to do. We have one that has to be completely blasted and painted, but the backboard was done previously. They'll be ready to go, then we'll assemble them and put them in the court.
So you just wanna finish the project?
Yep, finish it out.
And the cost?
I just saw this, so it was about $800 to blast and paint the previous one. And I don't know what the actual cost of the glass is. I'll have to get it. It's not technical glass, it's Alexa.
Where's this gonna be funded from?
It came out of the recreation funds previously. That's what we're charging to.
Somebody recreation.
Not Ron.
No, not Ron,
Man,
Ward four.
That's Big
I guess this
Charles.
was something that, former Juror Johnson was working on, and I guess he's just trying to finish it up.
Yeah, I'm trying to finish the project because it's already there. The goals have been painted. The backboard, the
Well,
Right, he
frame
was
has
gonna
been
get the
built.
funding from, a couple meetings ago, he gave all his money
No, he
to,
did.
he was going to,
Yeah,
so where
he
he
was.
was gonna get the money from?
I don't know, I can't answer that, I can't answer that.
If it were to table that to,
I said let's table this till the regular meeting, whenever the new Ward 4 juror will be here.
And then I'll be able to give you an effective cost of the actual glass.
That'll work. Motion adjourned.
So item number 6 will be tabled. Motion adjourned by Mr. Nakam. Can I get a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Mathern. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Finance Committee meeting adjourned.
All right, with 5:17, we'll get the personnel committee meeting started. Let the record reflect myself, Mr. Alcorn, Nakam, Mr. Ponville, and Mr. Leroy Blanchard are in attendance. Item number 1, reappoint Thomas Long as OEP Director for 2024.
Good with that, Mr. Long?
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Ponville,
Second.
second by Mr. Blanchard, all in favor?
Aye.
Any nays? Item number 2, reappoint Kim Torres as Secretary Treasurer for a 2-year period, 2024-2025.
So
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Ponville, second by Mr. Nakam, all in favor?
Aye.
Any nays? Motion passed.
Motion adjourned.
Motion adjourned by-
Mr. Chair, question, so we don't have a homeroom charter, and all directors worked at the pleasure of this jury, why all of them are not on here to be reappointed? We don't have a homeroom charter.
On rule.
So why on all department heads being reappointed to their posts? Why we just have 2? If we had a homeroom
There's a good
charter to
answer
be
for that,
different.
but I don't know the answer
I
right now.
think that
right
may
here.
be, these may be state requirements.
Yeah, those are required by state.
By
statute,
state that you
correct,
must
for these
have, blah, blah, blah.
Particular positions. Your director positions are not required for official appointments. They come to the board over
Okay.
time, but they are not required for annual appointments like these 2 positions.
Question, okay, thank you,
Um,
got it.
We had a motion by Mr. Nakam, second by Ponville, all in favor?
Aye.
Meeting adjourned.
We call the Engineering Grants Committee meeting to order. Let the record reflect that myself, Mr. Nakam, Mr. Alcorn, Mr. Diaz, and Mr. Ponville are in attendance. Item 1, update on project status and funding sources by GIS Engineering.
Morning, happy new year, guys.
Happy New Year.
Happy noon and good,
Good morning, good morning to you too.
I did not just wake up, I promise. We have been, following the, newly elected governor's cabinets and appointments. I would want the support, I'm asking the support of the jury for next Tuesday from 5:30 to 7:30. CPRA is going around with the draft annual plan that I spoke of,
So next Tuesday at the Houma Civic Center from 5:30 to 7:30. We will definitely have multiple representatives there. And right now, the annual plan does not have the Amelia Levy project in it. However, it is in the master plan. So the push is to get that master plan item in that project, put and add it into the annual plan, which is, that's gonna be looking for funding, right? So if it's an annual plan this year, it's easier if it's in it. Is it guaranteed to do, or be added? No, but with support, in numbers, I feel like, it shows the importance from the parish standpoint of it. And, we're also working along with some of the levy boards. So
Next
we will be
Tuesday,
there.
what time?
That's Tuesday at 5:30. It's
Where's that?
Houma Civic Center, 5:30 to 7:30. Tuesday, I believe that's the 16th, next Tuesday.
And this is a meeting that's open to the public?
Open public, it's the draft annual plan review. And so it's open to the public, so any and all are welcome. And again, if you have constituents that want to come, please pass the word on. It is a mega project, so we're pushing very hard for it.
So Jacob, based off our last trip to DC, I thought this was something that GIS in conjunction with our congressional delegation was working on to try to help us with that Amelia Levy project.
Yes, that is accurate.
So when they kept talking about language they needed to put in the Word bill,
Yes.
would that project fall within that?
I believe it will, I don't know what got adopted into the word of bill. I could get that for you. But this is simply to put in an annual plan, which would be budgeted. So these.
By the Corps?
The Corps is already, for the MRT, the Mississippi
what it
River
was, MRT.
tributaries. That was already mentioned and already declared. So now this is to push for the engineering, to get the alignment, to give to the Corps, in order to get the planning efforts done and say, we evaluated, different alignments and here we go. If the Corps would do it, you're looking at probably a 333 study, which is a 9-year process. So this is a push to try to get federal dollars from CPRA, which becomes state dollars, right? And then apply to projects inside of the annual plan. Does that make sense? Along with help from, it's easier if it's in the annual plan. You can say, hey, delegation. Now it's went from the map plan to the annual plan, and it's an easier push, a lighter lift, I guess it would be.
Well, based off of our meetings with the white paper document, the Corps was responsible for so many years. They added that project, but they never did it.
Correct. So the construction should be funded by the Corps.
By the Corps.
Yes.
And
But
through the Word bill, pass the money down to the state or give the money to the local municipalities to go ahead and do the project, right?
If you remember
Through
in that,
CPRA.
in our meetings, they discussed doing what they call the Form 1042, would be to convert those funds
That's
from
right.
the project from the Corps to the local jurisdiction.
That's right.
So what we're asking here is for CPRA to put it in their annual plan, start the engineering on it. That way, whenever it's funded from the federal level, they're already started on it. And any effort that they put into it, they can turn over to the Corps at any time if the Corps says that, no, we want to keep the
You wanna
project.
keep it, right?
The effort won't be lost. It can be turned over to the Corps.
So basically, there's no alignment determined at this point.
Understood.
It's just draw a line on the paper, and it's a concept. The idea is to go evaluate multiple concepts and get involved with the environmental process and get that part moving through the planning efforts.
Right.
Good. And, besides that, nothing else is really pushed.
What about the new project you gave us, right? I think the award we got, right?
We're working with
St. Vincent Canal project, right?
No, so that was awarded through the Watershed Initiative.
Good.
We've been made notice of that award, and there was some paperwork that I know
That's
that
all gone
Melissa,
back. The paperwork has
that they
been
returned
submitted.
back. So once that paperwork gets sent back and there's a,
They're gonna draft the CEA.
right, they'll draft a CEA, and the first step in that is doing an H&H study to validate the project. And I don't know exactly how much, there's a percentage of that project that they allocate to that preliminary engineering to validate the project.
Which he's already done.
No.
Because it's part of our master plan, right?
No, this is gonna be through the Watershed Initiative Committee
Okay,
and their approved engineers
okay.
to review this project. Now, some projects are handled by their engineers directly, some are handled through RFQ. We select the engineer and they accept the work and review it. We'll have to see how they guide us through it because so this is the first projects in round 2. Rules change from round 1.
Okay.
So it's a learning process on how we get through the round 2 funding, but the funding is there. It has been allocated for that project. We just have to prove that the area needs it based on the hydraulic model.
Well, based off his study and putting it in our master plan, that should show just cause, right?
Well, the master plan showed that's
Just
why
cause,
we even
right.
applied for it. So we're not concerned that it won't be a validated project. It's just, that's the process that the Watershed Initiative is making us go through.
Gotcha.
And it involved the low to moderate income effort as well.
Gotcha,
So check that box, and that was part of the major decision as well.
gotcha. All right, brother.
All right, guys, thank y'all.
Appreciate you, man.
Find
Thank
some
you.
funding, Jacob.
Yes, sir.
He been hustling now.
Introduction of the grants coordinator, Ms. Rihanna Crochet.
Good afternoon. Brianna Crochet, the new grants coordinator.
Welcome, welcome.
I'm excited and first week, so I'm kind of a little nervous and not sure what's going on, so I'm
You're good.
excited.
You got it.
And I have nothing to report.
So LAGAP is one of our easiest grants, and I know you got a lot on your table, a lot on your plate. So I think February 1st, that grant is due, whether we know it or not. Y'all gonna pass it up? That's one of the easiest ones we can get by, I guess, just putting pen on the paper. We usually get that automatic every single year. I think February 1st is the deadline.
Ron, if I can interject here. Megan had left some paperwork for her on her desk. At a previous jury meeting, we were waiting for Mr. LeBlanc to tell us if there was any equipment that he needed. We're still waiting on that. She has a note to follow up with him to see if he's come up with
Okay.
that for us to bring it back to y'all.
For the next meeting.
We have also contacted BJ with the Waterworks for his project for their Community Water Enrichment Fund. He has also not gotten back with us, so that's also on her list for her to follow up with him for the project so we can bring it back to y'all.
Out of all the grants that we are aggressive with, that is the least, that's just the easiest one. So I got this through the wind, February 1st, that grant application has to be submitted. So I'm just putting it out there. I know you got a lot.
You need any equipment?
Yeah, we're talking about trucks. So remember also the gap funds right now allocated to the courthouse. We're working with that architectural firm. So
Last year.
that's from last year. So we're trying to close it out as fast as possible. It's the only way we can apply for it.
We in the process of trying to start back lit up abatement.
Okay,
Two grants in
we can
one
have
round.
two. Okay, good.
So we're trying to start back lit up abatement, so we're gonna need a truck, we're gonna need a couple of 3/4
We
tons.
looked at some 3/4 tons. We had previously kind of got a little price, but we needed some additional funding, so that'll work out perfect.
Talk with the sheriff, he's willing to supply the trustees
I'll-
again, so.
I'll give it
we're
information.
on that route.
Listen,
If the jury approves that. then
If the
she
jury
will
approves it,
follow.
Just putting it out there because I know it's coming and that's one of the
we
easiest
definitely need
ones.
some
we ever
3/4
get.
ton trucks to haul some larger equipment.
We need to approve it tonight.
Huh?
It would save us some time if we do.
Let's approve it tonight.
If we approved it tonight, it would say she can actually start working on it.
We don't have any quotes in front
I'm
of
just
us.
putting it out there.
No, our last price that I got from it was about, I think it was 49 something tactile and license for a 3/4 ton work truck.
Work truck.
And they were available
Single
at that
cab?
time. No, that's 4-door.
That's 4-door, 4-wheel drive.
What about outfitting it?
No, I mean, 2-wheel.
Well, normally I order a package with the lights and the, now we might have to put some additional lighting on it like Justin does here in Homer. But, generally get the work truck package just like ours. I get the flashing kits in it and all that stuff where you can,
Bed liners.
yeah.
So I think we can approve it in principle that they apply for the trucks, but next meeting we can approve once we get the amount. Now, I remember on the last, cycle, you found some language because of our municipality size or something, we could actually apply for more. Is that still the case? Remember, there was something,
Yeah. So on the last LEGAP grant, we applied for 100, but if you looked at the last ending page, something Parish are qualified for 150,000. Actually, the village of Napoleonville gets 25,000 of it. So we should have retained 125 instead of 100,000. I brought that to Mr. Leday's attention, but he still moved forward and applied for 100,000. We should have went for the 150 that it actually said on
Right,
it.
so that's why I'd like us to wait, make sure we get the amount of what we can
Right.
apply for and let's fulfill.
Let's get the full amount and see what they offer, and then we'll go after the full amount. So we may be able to squeeze in something else.
The prices also.
Oh, yeah, yeah, I'll get some prices.
Act on it as soon as we.
We're still gonna have to put it out for bid because of the price.
It's not their contract.
They didn't have any on state contract last time. We had to put it out for bid. So if they're available, we'll go that route. If not, then we're still gonna have to put it out for bid.
Exactly.
4-wheel drive or 2-wheel drive?
Forward drive.
Just putting it out there.
Anything else, Ms. Crochet?
Just gonna take it from there.
Right, we'll table it to the next meeting but they're gonna start working on the paperwork, knowing that.
Should we make
that's
a
the intent of the
motion
jury.
to start the paperwork? Or
Make a motion to,
start the paperwork,
Right, we just gotta get the cost and,
cost of it?
We get the calls and we gotta see what the grant's gonna allow, what we qualify for.
Ryan, get the price of the 2-wheel drive also. Just get the price of both vehicles.
Yeah, two-wheel drives and the conditions we working in, Mr. Chris.
Picking up trash?
No, that's not just for picking up trash.
For more.
That's gonna go,
If we pull that fuel trailer and other issues that we can pull, or we pull small trailers during a storm event, some of them, that 12 or 18-yard trailers, 4-wheel drive would be better.
cause we can put a fifth wheel in the back of it.
motion to start the process to apply for the LAGAP grant.
all right, motion by Mr. Alcorn,
Second.
second by Mr. Diaz, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Thank you, Ms. Crochet. Request approval and authorize the president to sign the documents for the RCIP and HRP programs with the Louisiana Office of Community Development.
Yes, sir. All the forms have been filled out with the exception of the HUD 2020 form. And, in working with, the administrative office of, we need to decide what project is gonna be done with these monies. You know, we had a conference call early in the week, you were on the conference call with Simmons. And, the state's actually pushing to have a grant contract administrator, a third party come in and administer this grant for us.
Right, so there's a mandatory meeting that's gonna occur prior to our next jury meeting. That,
It's
I
on
think
the
Ms. Long and I
22nd.
both will attend, and then we'll be able to bring that information back so that we can see exactly what projects we can, put it towards. Right now, it's not clear, as to what projects we have that, the ideas that we already have that are unfunded, which ones could we use these funds for?
You know, as
And
you
if
read
there's some
through the
other projects.
documents they submitted, it all leans towards low and moderate income type situations, but it doesn't spell out anything specifically.
Courthouse and low moderate income areas.
Sure. Well, and the courthouse might be but it's two separate programs. So we'll have to follow the guidelines for each of the programs, but we'll,
Y'all gonna get educated.
800 and,
It's right under 900,000.
880,000, somewhere in that range.
Now,
But
I
it's
mean,
split
we
up
get-
about evenly.
We get the rest of those documents signed, with that one exception, we'll push forward and submit that to the state tomorrow. It's not a problem.
Motion for the president to sign the documents.
Motion by Mr. Nakam,
Second.
second by Mr. Pionville, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Update on Ag Center roof project.
I can give a little bit of, since Joe, I'm sorry. I'm
standing
Okay.
For the Ag Center, we received the construction contracts back fully executed on the 8th. And on that same day, contacted the contractor back to request dates and times to coordinate a pre-construction meeting. We are waiting on his response to line up a time and a date for a pre-construction on-site meeting.
And this is for the
Concession
concession.
stand.
And they did send me an email, notify me that there was gonna be a pre-construction meeting, but they didn't have an affirmative date yet.
Yeah, that's pretty much our update on that.
Regarding the roof on the main, arena. I sent a contract up there about 2 weeks ago to repair it, just because we had some, temporary repair it, because we have a couple of events. We just had an event this week. We have 2 more events in the month. That contractor went up there and told me that he was able to secure that roof. And it's a very good possibility, he was supposed to meet with me today, he didn't come, he didn't meet with me, but it's a very good possibility that repair may be a permanent repair, we may not have to replace that roof. He's telling me that's a 50-year metal on that roof. It's only 17, 18 years old. The roof is in excellent shape. The metal's in excellent shape. It was just a bunch of pins and a bunch of what you want to call it?
It's clips.
Like
They
clips
go underneath.
that came loose on the roof. He went over to have some sheet metal screws and secured that metal back. He said with some caulking and some more sheet metal screws, and we'd have to do a little more cosmetic work on the gutters and the downspouts that were damaged, but it's a very good possibility. We may not have to go out for bid again to replace that whole roof. But he didn't meet with me again and give me all his specifics. If he could, to give me some more information on it, he was supposed to meet with me today, he didn't. Because I know y'all, at the last month, y'all rejected all those bids for that roof replacement. And, that's something, when he gets back with me, that's something the jurors get to decide. If it may be possible, we can repair this roof and it's gonna be good for another 20 years.
Who went and looked at this roof?
Terrence Beaman.
No,
Initially,
prior.
Initially, that was,
Say that it had to be changed out.
that was our insurance adjuster.
Insurance adjuster. Now, previously, as we were talking before, that's why the other side of the roofing section was left out, because we were gonna do the exact same thing to secure it. We're gonna come in and put roofing screws. Just so happened they went ahead and
And actually,
moved forward
the
on
insurance
it.
company sent us a check for $180,000.
Correct. The insurance company made an assessment with that, so we went forward with it.
okay? So if we don't replace it,
We gotta get the money back?
That's an administration
I'm
question.
almost positive we do.
I think.
Well, they
remember
look
when-
at they look at the claim as a whole. So if we under on the whole, claim from the event, we have to send it back. If we over on some other, buildings that were damaged, then we would not have to send it back. They don't look at it individually. They look at all of our
We can
damages.
utilize the funding for other damaged projects.
so can we utilize the funding for something that got damaged
That is correct.
that we didn't get
Correct.
the amount of money for?
No, only the damages that they assess though.
Yeah, the
They
storm damage.
assessed it, some of we just.
I-
we can fund.
Like we,
I think the proper step would be for us to contact the insurance adjuster to come back out and meet with the contractor to make sure that we're on the same page. If we don't replace
No, I
it,
understand what you're saying.
there's a chance that if it gets damaged in the
It may
future,
not-
insurance
They
will
ain't
not
gonna
cover it.
cover it, that's right.
So
That's
we
right.
need to see if there's something that the adjuster saw that the contractor didn't see and make sure that it's documented that the adjuster, accepts it and maybe readjust the claim,
Correct.
based on what the contractor did or needs to do.
We can do that.
Anything else on the Ag Center?
Oh, sir.
All right, update on the Tacopah Landing project?
So, the on-site, update is contractor, installed through the wall air conditioning unit for the data and comm room area on the restroom building. And, had, ADA placards or signage for the restrooms approved and installing those also. At this time, that's what was being done as of last Thursday, Friday till today, that I'm aware of. I could have Joseph, give you a more detailed update on anything else, but as of right now, that's what I know is taking place on site.
What's our time frame for the rest of the components that need to be finished, excluding the POW cap issue?
I can have him, send out email or give correspondence to you as far as time frame. I just wasn't in on those discussions as in regard to it, so I wouldn't want to give you any kind of, roundabout date or whatever. I would, like to talk back to Joseph at the office and have him maybe send out email to everyone or contact y'all and give y'all a more precise type of time frame.
And with, respect to the bulkhead cap repair, do you have any plans or anything, modifications that you
Yeah.
can give over to the contractor?
In drafting or design wise, we have, I'm not gonna say a remedy, but approach to it as far as with the treated timber kickbacks that would be placed underneath in the compacted gravel. And replace back your drain troughs. But, if you would like I said, maybe send in, your RFI or request for information in regards to it, and I can have Joseph.
Well, he's fully aware. This has been, we've been waiting for this information
Yeah.
for over a month now.
All right.
And I mean, we're just trying to figure out if we're gonna
Right.
receive it or not.
Yeah. Drawings are done on them. As far as like we placing these treated kickers every 5 feet on center type of thing. We finished the drawings. I don't know what else needs to take place in order to get it done or whatever, but again, I can have him have some correspondence with you.
Mr. Chair, I make a motion that, we authorize Latair Engineering to provide us the necessary requirements.
Just in time, Mr. Sawant.
Apologize, I just got out of jury duty.
Sir.
So we're asking if we have, the pile cap plans to,
Yes.
the
yes,
replacement
that
plans
was-
of where we are on that. We requested it sometime and we hadn't had any
That's correct.
communication from you
Correct. Well, we've
regarding.
been, my attorneys have been communicating with your attorney, and that information was delivered to my attorney for delivery to you all, this morning. So I don't know, I've been in jury duty since 9 o'clock, so I don't know if they transferred that information yet. And I'm
This was requested a while back.
talking about the alternate design for the cap.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Yes, we've been going back and forth with your attorney as well as our attorneys on the responsibility of the design of that, as well as investigating the cause and reviewing, Mr. Seneca Tucson's report. But I've been going through the attorneys with all of that information. I assume you all were privy to that.
I still make my motion to authorize Latair Engineering to provide the necessary required plans and specifications necessary to obtain the pricing for the contracted depths of bulkhead cap.
Second.
I have a motion on the floor by Mr. Diaz, second by Mr. Pineville, to authorize Latair to provide, the necessary plans and specifications. All in favor? Opposed? Motion carried. We'll have the attorney, in contact with you to, figure out,
Sure, no
what
problem.
information we need from you.
Okay.
Next item is update on courthouse renovation project.
Mr. Calabro, were you able to look at that, contract and see?
Yes, I think I.
You did tell me that.
Paul last time, you said we.
Okay, it was good to
Yes.
go, so then I'd request approval for Leroy to sign a contract with the architectural company. Move forward with courthouse.
Slow up. Mr. Clabber, what you said, sir?
That's just the architect's contract, and I spoke to Paul at the last meeting, Brian, had sent me that to review. I have no issues with it, so we can proceed with execution of that contract, so we can proceed with what the project scope is going to look like.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you.
Motion by Mr. Diaz,
Second.
second by Mr. Pineville. All in favor?
All right.
Opposed? Motion carried. Update on Joe Lamar Street drainage project.
Yes, as you all were aware from the last meeting that we were proposing to advertise for that project after the first of the year. Now that the new jury has taken place, I've spoken to Mr. Carter and we are scheduling the bid date. I will be providing that bid date once selected for advertisement. I'll send out a notice to all of you.
So, the bidding of this project should be administered by GIS engineering is, from what I understand, right? You're
As
delivering
I
this to
understand
us
that,
as
I'm
the
just
plans and
coordinating with them.
specifications.
We're just gonna be coordinating with them because we had chosen to postpone advertising this project till after the first of the year because of the way the holidays and everything were falling. So We're still the engineer of record for the project. I understand that GIS does have the contract for the project administration, so we will have to work with them and provide we turned over the necessary documents, so all that needs to be done is select a bid date and place it for advertisement.
Have you been in communication with them to update them on when they can expect to have this information so that they can plan?
The information's already been turned over to the parish. I have not spoken to GIS personally. I can have my office and myself reach out to them tomorrow and we've already drafted the advertisements and everything is ready to go. I can certainly transfer that information directly to them tomorrow.
Jacob, right there. Jacob,
Yes, sir.
Joe Lamar, can you get this project ready for a bid? Sure. Next meeting.
Yeah, we were starting to coordinate on the Go-Basic projects, the list of them. An email was sent just asking for the dates of when the design would be done. So we can plan accordingly, so we can have a list, a schedule of when we're gonna advertise which projects. So that coordination effort, once that happens, I can give y'all a list of project, when we're gonna bid it, when we accept bids, and then go through it like that. But I don't know which projects still at this time, which projects are classified as your Go-Basic projects, but we can coordinate that effort. Work with, Ms. Blankenship.
Right. I mean, they were listed in the email.
Yeah, you had about 4 or 5 based off the administration that what GIS got, one RFQ on, right?
That's correct.
We just need to know when the design's done, so we know when to advertise. We don't.
Time frame on that, Joseph?
Michael Street Jalomar has been designed, completed, and delivered to the parish. So it is ready to advertise. So we will simply now transfer those plans. With the permission of the jury, I'll transfer those plans to GIS and we will assist them in advertising.
And can you, follow up on the remaining projects that were included in that email asking for schedule?
Yes, sir.
When we can
Yes,
have
sir.
those plans?
Yes, sir.
I can report back in 2 weeks. I'll give you a schedule. Whenever we get it, we'll list it out, we'll coordinate with the parish. Who from the parish will be administering from, the parish's side, I guess.
It's eventually gonna be Rayetta, but she's still kind of in the training phase, and Ms. Kim and I are still trying to finish end of the year, beginning of the year requirements. So that's why we haven't had a chance to get back to you yet.
Okay, no problem. Yeah,
We have
soon
our
as, soon as,
federal tax reports and stuff we're trying to get done right now.
yeah, soon as we get the information, we can schedule it all out, and whenever, book the courtroom, I guess, open bids at y'all designated location, so.
So basically, if y'all can coordinate that and put y'all recommendations on, I don't think the jury have any problem.
No, and I believe the jury had already authorized us to advertise for Michael Street and Jalomar, maybe 1 or 2 meetings ago. It was just decided in discussions with Mr. Carter and so forth that it would be in the best interest to bid it after the first of the year, given the time. But that project is ready to go, and like I said, we will gladly transfer those documents over to GIS, whatever they need to help them get that project out.
Okay.
You'll see email traffic.
Update on Bertrandville Drainage Canal project?
So originally, it was gonna go out for bid, Mr. Carter, and then it came back and we were gonna do it in-house, but the decision was kind of implemented earlier that, are we gonna put this project back out for bid? Or are we gonna,
Y'all can't handle it, we can put it out back off a bid.
well, it all
Y'all been
depends
working
on, it's critical on whether we have an operator or not that can do the project eventually.
Do you have an operator that can do it or not?
Right now, yes.
Now we do.
As of right now, we do, but we may or may not have one shortly.
So what projects are y'all working on right now? What big projects are y'all?
Oh, we on my raise.
Y'all been on my rate for what, 6 months now?
So you have to do clearance first? Oh, absolutely not.
Y'all been working back my rate for a long time.
This is phase 2.
It's phases.
The first machine was to clear the right of way. The second machine is a long reach to go in and actually dig the canal.
The 320 worked there for 1 month.
How many more work y'all got back on my rate?
We still clearing, we still digging the canal.
Lack of
You're
maintenance.
talking almost 8,000 foot of canal. It doesn't happen overnight. You're in a month and a half.
Actually, for estimate how much more work y'all got to do.
Oh,
2 months.
2 months.
Okay.
And then if you don't lose the contract, I mean,
If we don't lose an operator.
operator.
We
If we lose an operator, we return the machine and then
You
we're
want
gonna have
to
to reschedule the project until we can.
You only got one operator that can operate the machine?
No, we can operate that machine.
We can run it,
We can run it.
but then you lose your other portion of your workforce, as we talked about earlier.
You advertise for another one.
You wanna hire another employee, Mr. Carter?
If you lose one, you replace him.
You need to hire 2 more.
No, I would take that. There you go. It's good.
You wanna stay where you at, Mr. Carl?
Stay right there where I'm at, for right now.
All right, no problem.
Update on Gerald Street levy project.
Yes, we're in the final phases of coordinating the permit release with DNR. There was some adjustments that needed to be made to the HMA that was submitted. As soon as we have their comments back, we expect that permit to move forward fairly quickly.
Update on ring levies in Pierport, Bell River.
Ring levies in Pierport, we have, as I had reported to you all at the last meeting, we had altered some of the permit design to reduce the footprint below the 0.1 acres of impact to the wetlands in accordance with what we had discussed, and that was removing what we called the dry pit ring levees and replacing that with gates. We also were able to bring in the footprint of the wet ring levees somewhat to get us right. We're right at it. We're right at about 0.1, 0.12. So we're submitting that. We're submitting that to the Corps with the hopes that they will let that go through under their general programmatic permit and not require you to mitigate. As soon as I have an update from them, I can then be able to report that back to you, but that was the last discussions we had with them.
So how long have you been working on those projects, man?
Ring levy permits, about a year. We have the DNR permit in hand. The issue arose that the Army Corps of Engineers was not aware that DNR had issued the permit, and they did not follow the same criteria for the wetlands determination. The Corps of Engineers has a little bit stricter criteria when it comes to identifying those wetlands. DNR allowed basically the impacts that were taking place within the state right of way to go through as previously mitigated. The Corps did not recognize that.
All right, bro, we need some levers, man. We need some pumps.
I understand.
All right, update on Lee Drive project.
Lee Drive, the contractor's been working on the punch list. As far as I have not put my eyes on the final product as of yet since he had finished. So I don't want to sit here and tell you that I've checked off everything, but we are going to do another final walkthrough this week to see if there's any indications and check all of the areas that we identified as possible deficiencies and so forth. Check his fixes and also check the tolerances, and then I will be able to report back to you if there's any deficiencies that need to be addressed again. If everything's been addressed, then at that point, the end of his substantial completion period will close out and that project will close.
Has there been any work ongoing out there right now by the contractor?
Not as of this past week. He has been out there previously. The last update that I had from him, he was still working on some of the driveway aprons, as well as there was some areas that needed to be done. I don't know the exact date. As I said, I was not in touch with my inspector today, so I don't know the exact date of his last time on that site, but he is still in the parish working as well.
What method you gonna use to check the tolerances?
We're gonna follow the specifications. If he's within a 1/2 inch tolerance on as far as levels and so forth, and we also have core samples taken.
Can we get the results from the core samples?
Yes,
Because we did not receive them.
I will provide them again. I have provided those to you, Mr. Pondell, several times already, and I will gladly send them
Never
again.
received them. We never received them, Joseph.
We need to get that finished before we can start
Also-
our other rules.
What type of method are you gonna use to check the tolerances of the road?
It's a leveling method. We core the sample if the sample is thick enough,
I'm
and then
not
you.
talking about the core.
What do you,
I'm talking about the roughness.
the roughness?
Yes, sir. What
That's
method
something-
are you gonna use to check the
The
tolerances?
road is within not only the design specifications, but state specifications as far as smoothness is concerned. It's been railed several times.
What methods are you gonna use to check the tolerances of the road?
The state approved tolerance methods. I will look through and see if there's any other additional testing that they would require, but on a parish road that is that is of that service type, additional testing beyond what has been done is not required.
I'm going to ask that we hold the final payment for the engineer and the contractor, and do not grant substantial completion on this road until further notice.
Substantial
We did
completion has
already.
already been granted.
We did that already.
Substantial completion has already been granted.
Has the engineer been paid?
Not 100%.
Who is payment to?
We need,
I make a motion that we withhold the engineer's last payment from engineering services on Lee Drive until further notice.
The project is complete in to specification and has been deemed substantially
Prove it.
complete. The project has been deemed substantially complete by this jury as a whole. Maybe not you as an individual, but by this jury as a whole.
Nor the
Therefore,
people that
if the
drive it.
project stays within, if the project was within specifications and designed properly and constructed properly, which it is, that project is complete. If you choose to withhold payment, that is your prerogative. However, you may be opening yourself up to liability.
Prove that it's intolerance.
We've already done so, sir.
How
We've given you those things. You've denied that you've received them. I'll gladly send them
Just
to
looking
you
for a
again.
report.
You've ridden the
Give us a
road,
report.
you've been out there.
Move on.
I've given you
Move on,
reports.
Move on, move on.
Move on, nothing. Look, guys, this is a $1.8 million job here that we're talking about. For this engineer to continue to go on about the road is being used for its intended purpose, it's not accurate. The road was gravel and it was being used for its intended purpose, okay? The taxpayers of Assumption Parish in the state of Louisiana did not pay for this road to be in the shape that it's in. If y'all satisfied with it, y'all do that in your wards. I'm not satisfied.
Mr. Sawar, can you bring back, to us at the next meeting, the punch list and what has and hasn't been completed?
Yes,
For Lee Drive, and with, I guess, special emphasis on the culverts, the cross culverts that were of issue of the tolerance. I believe there've been some additional paving done,
Yes.
but, I'm not aware that any, measurements have been taken to know if it's intolerance or not.
We will provide you with those tolerances.
Update on Shell Beach Boat Landing?
Shell Beach Boat Landing, the permit has been issued and it was delivered to the parish.
Thank you. You understand, Myron, where we are with it?
yes, yes.
Motion adjourned by Mr. Diaz,
Second.
second by Mr. Alcorn. All in favor? Opposed? Meeting adjourned. We'll now have our 5:50 public hearing, regarding the amendments to ordinance chapter 26-4.A, 5 through 16, with regard to additional standards for manufacturer of mobile home parks or community requirements. Any comment from the public regarding these, amendments to the ordinance? Second call. Last call. Let the record reflect that there is no public comment regarding the amendments to the ordinance.
No, they don't have to text. They should be in about 2 or 3 minutes.
All right, we'll take about 5 minutes before we continue. We're waiting on our judge that's gonna do the swearing in for the next item on our agenda.
Well, I can wait. I went to the regular meeting.
That's
Still
right.
on five.
Yeah, you
No,
gotta
so-
start it before.
Get sworn in
So
first.
that's what we're going now.
We got it, okay.
Okay.
So at this time, we'll have our photo session and swearing in of the newly elected police jurors, and, we'll have Juror Ron Alcorn introduce our judge to us.
Yeah, gentlemen, I want to introduce you to newly elected Judge Keowan Gant Turner, newly elected to the 23rd Judiciary District that represents Assumption, Ascension, and St. James. We look forward to working with her, and we welcome you, we welcome you, and we welcome you.
Thank you so much.
All right, Judge, the floor is yours.
The floor is yours, Judge.
All righty. First of all, I'd like to thank you all for having me to participate in your program this afternoon. And so to the newly elected police jurors, I would like to congratulate you. If I can go ahead and have you all stand and raise your right hand so that you can be properly sworn in. Okay, please repeat after me. I state your name. Do solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution and laws
That I will support the Constitution and laws
of the United States
of the United States
and the Constitution and laws
and the Constitution and laws
of this state,
of this state,
and that I will faithfully
and I will faithfully
and impartially
and impartially
discharge and perform
discharge and perform
all the duties
all the duties
incumbent on me as police juror
incumbent upon me as a police juror,
according to the best of my ability
according to the best of my ability
and understanding.
and understanding.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations to all of you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Y'all wanna take a
Picture?
I'll take a picture.
You doing that? Let's do it.
Judge, you gonna take a picture with us? Take one with us, and then we'll take one among house with you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Somebody gonna sit down?
Oh, that's true.
I would do that.
Sean was just
You
sitting
can
there.
sit out there, like we did last year.
Sure, people are gonna sit in the front.
Go to straight here, Justin.
I'm on my collar, collar's right. Don't tell me that.
Yeah, check it
Uh,
out.
1, 3,
smile.
again.
1, 2, 3, smile. All right, I got a bunch.
We're gonna take one with the full jury. Thank you, Judge.
Thank you
Appreciate
so
you. Thank you
much.
for coming.
All right, put your hand.
Thank you so much.
For the wall.
1, 2, 3, smile. All right.
Thank you.
What's he got?
Sit in.
Sit at the collar, Joe.
All right.
We'll now begin the regular meeting of the Assumption Parish Police Jury. Let the record reflect all jurors are present. Please rise for our prayer and pledge of allegiance. God, who teaches us by sending the light of the Holy Spirit into our hearts, grant that by the light of that Spirit, right judgment may be ours, and that we may ever find joy in his guidance. Amen. Mr. Carter, lead us in the pledge, please. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And so at this time, the accountant will open nominations for president 2024.
I'm making a motion, Leroy Blanchard as president. Second.
At this time, we'll take a vote, for, Leroy Blanchard as nominee for president. All yeas? Any nays? Motion passed to have Leroy Blanchard as our 2024 police jury president.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Well.
At this time, we'll open nominations for vice president.
I nominate Jeff Nakane, Vice President.
Nomination for Mr. Jeff Nakam
Second.
for vice president. Second for Mr. Pineville. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Congratulations, Mr. Nakam.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Congratulations.
All right, accept the list of committees for year 2024. So, there was a list that was circulated, and we had Ms. Torres asked us to look at it because we had some committees that only had 4 members, some committees had 6 members. And, I'll pass down to you, another list I went through, for us to consider.
That's-
All right, so, what I did on here, I listed all the committees and all of the jurors underneath each committee. So I went through based on what we've been doing, you know, with everyone's, brings to the table. You know, I have on here my recommendation for the 5 for each of the committees. I'd like everyone to look at it and see, if we're gonna expand, or if you want to be added to a committee. I'd ask that we take somebody off, so we cap it at 5 on each committee, so that, we go through that, we don't have 7 or 8 members of the committee. If, you know, and Ms. Torres' point was that if we're gonna have that many on the committee, why doesn't the whole jury sit as the committees?
Yeah, I agree.
So, if you wanna go over it, take your time and, so the bullet points that I put on there are the 5 that would be on each of those committees.
So your recommendation is to change some committees around.
That's correct.
Does any newcomers have any desire to be?
So, Mr. Patero, I have him on drainage, economic development, and recreation. And Mr. Bro on insurance and federal programs.
And a little line, is that your recommendation for?
Well, I'd like to, see what you got. My suggestion is that we have each committee meet at our next meeting. And, the first item on the agenda for that meeting is for that committee to select their chairman. I think, I would prefer that the committee select their chairman rather, you know, I mean, the line that's indicated on there is the person that I would like to see chair that committee. But, I would prefer the committee select their chair.
If insurance, you didn't have that there. Jamie, you don't want to be, I was just going back what we did the last 4 years, drainage.
I'm just completely up to y'all. I'm good wherever. I don't mind, chairing drainage, I'm good with it.
Yeah, I don't think we need to do a whole lot of change as far as chairman wise. I think the biggest one gonna be, engineering grants. You lost him. I mean, I think all our committees ran pretty good. I think we all had pretty good leadership, pretty good chairmanship on each committee. So I would say, my recommendation is to leave the, chairman to each committee as they were last year, with the exception of, engineering
And federal programs too.
and federal programs. Engineering and federal programs.
Jeff, I'd like to see you take on engineering.
You would like that, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I guess with the years' experience and stuff, anybody else would be interested in engineering?
I nominate, Jeff Knockett.
Yeah.
Yep, you got it.
All right, I'll take engineering.
All right.
I'll
well,
take engineering.
If we
And,
want to do all the chairs now, we,
yeah, let's do it now.
All right,
Let's do it.
so for
that next
drainage-
Meeting, we'll be ready to go. Federal programs, Ron, Chris Carter. Chris Carter, you'll take, chairman of that.
I'll take it.
Let's do that, Lee.
all right.
And my motion would be, change that to be, Ron, myself, I can't make a motion for myself, but anyway. Chris is federal
All right,
program.
let's take them one at a time. So for drainage, we're just suggesting we just don't make a change for the other 9 committees, that have remaining leadership, or?
Leadership only. I
I
think the
would like-
recommendation would be good, but what you got for us, the dots on everybody, just the leadership.
I would like to
Chairman.
chair, solid waste. Jeff, you good with that?
He's doing solid waste for 20 years. I don't know. I'd like to keep it.
You got engineering and grants to worry about now.
Well, if I gotta do both, either one, I'll take solid waste over engineering.
That's why we'd rather give you engineering with the
I
years of
know, I know.
experience.
I do. I take engineering if I keep solid waste.
All right.
All right, so, I'll entertain a motion to have, Jeff as a solid waste chair.
So move.
Motion by Mr. Carter,
Second.
second by Mr. Diaz, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right, so, drainage. Jamie, you good staying with drainage?
Fine, Ben.
Road and bridge?
I'm good with staying with it.
All right, well, so somebody will have to be off of it for you to be on road and bridge, so we can stick to 5.
Take me off.
All right, so Chris will be off, Ron will be back on. With Ron as the chair. Economic Development,
Who was that with?
I was the chair.
Ron's good.
Uh,
Nominate Ron.
Finance,
Always
I'll be the
president.
chair, yeah. Insurance,
I'll keep it. 1, 2, 3, that's enough.
Personnel, Recreation,
Good.
I would like to get on that rec board if anyone wants to get on.
You on it.
I'm
You
on.
on it,
Yeah,
you
hell
on it, you on it.
It's proposed or forgot?
No, you already
Okay,
on.
all right, yes, keep me on there.
You need
Chris, you chair that one?
Yeah.
to, emergency preparedness. I'll take that one. All right, any other modifications?
I would like to stay on, engineering and grants if someone wants to get off.
You get the 6th one on there.
Do what?
You could, but let's see if we had, you want to get off of that one, Ron? I mean, you added road and bridge where you weren't on before.
Engineering?
Yeah,
Yeah, I'll get off.
all right.
You
Take
wanna
Ron
get on,
off
you
and
can
put
get on.
Jamie on.
Jamie, you can go.
He's on there already. He's already on there.
We have a different list.
We have a new list.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, we got to. Then he modify.
Yes. Two different lists if we look at them.
So move the new guy on there.
All right,
We'll send out new list.
entertain a motion to accept the committee assignments, as we just discussed. Motion by Mr. Diaz,
Second.
second by Mr. Ponville, all in favor?
All right.
Opposed? Motion carries. Set time of regular police jury meetings. Motion to stay 6 p.m. We have been motion by Mr. Carter, second by Mr. Nakam. All in favor? Opposed? Motion carried. Request approval of minutes of December 13th, 2023, and December 20th, 2023.
So move.
Motion by Mr. Nakam,
Second.
second by Mr. Carter. All in favor? Opposed? Motion carried. Public comment period. We now accept public comment for any item that's on the agenda. Second call. Last call. Let the record reflect there was no public comment. Drainage committee report, Chairman Ponville.
Yes, sir. Drainage committee meeting was held this afternoon. Myself, Mr. Carter, Mr. Mathern, and Mr. Blanchard was in attendance. We approved to put Mr. Ron Landry on the Oak Ridge Gravity Drainage District number 8 to be replaced from Miss Nikki LaCoste. We approved the submergible drainage pump at 1470 Highway 402. Total cost of $2,650. We approved the outfall on 7400 Highway 1. Total cost $7,400. That item number 2. That was $2,650. I'm sorry. And we had a discussion on updated drainage projects and discussion on road and bridge work schedule. And I'm presenting this all in form of a motion.
Motion by Mr. Ponville, second by Mr. Nakam. All in favor? Opposed? Committee report accepted. Finance committee report. Finance committee met at 5:02. We approved to pay the list of bills submitted through January 5th, 2024. We heard the fourth quarter report and approved the fourth quarter payment to the Chamber of Commerce. We approved the travel for Register of Voters in Tennessee, February 21st, through 25th of 2024, in the amount of $1,500 for CRA training. We approved the 2024 fire protection contract renewals with each of the individual fire departments. And we approved the CPI increase for Waste Pro contract effective January 1st, 2024. There was an additional item that we tabled to the regular meeting here. Mr. Bro, we wanted to give you the benefit of being here for it. This is at Monterey Park. There's an item on the agenda to request approval to replace backboards in Monterey Park. Mr. Blankenship can fill us in on that, and I think he may have some costs for us.
So this was actually a previous project we were working on. We had 2 of the goals blasted and painted and reinstalled. And then the Gorilla Goals that came out of the place, we were working on getting them blasted and painted, this new backboards built. We still have 1 to continue. It was approximately about $800 for the Gorilla Goal to be blasted and painted, and the frame was built. We just need to obtain the backboards, and then we can install them in an appropriate location. I'm suspecting probably somewhere around $2,000 a total cost, you know, to complete the project.
We have funds in a recreational.
Yes.
I'd like to make that motion.
All right, we have a motion by Mr. Bro that we approve $2,000 for the replacement of backboards at Monterey Park. Second by Mr. Diaz. All in favor?
Aye.
All right, and that is the remaining of the report.
Motion to approve your report.
Motion to approve the report by Mr. Nakam,
Second.
second by Mr. Ponville. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Personnel committee report, Chairman Diaz.
Personnel Committee met at 5:17. All members were present. First item was to reappoint Thomas Long as OSEP Director for 2024. And second was to report Ms. Kim Torres as Secretary Treasurer for 2 years, 2024, 2025. I present this in the form of a motion.
Motion by Mr. Diaz, second by Mr. Alcorn. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Engineering Grants Committee report. Engineering Grants Committee met. Present were myself, Mr. Nakam, Mr. Alcorn, Mr. Diaz, and Mr. Ponville. We heard an update on funding sources from GIS Engineering. we were introduced to our new grants coordinator, Ms. Rietta Crochet. And we discussed with her about applying for LEGAP funding for road and bridge equipment. That application is due in February 1st. We approved and authorized the president to sign documents for RCIP and HRP programs with the Louisiana Office of Community Development. We got an update on the Ag Center and the concession stand roof project. Got an update on the Tacapau Landing, an update on the courthouse renovation project, update on Joel Morris Street drainage project, an update on Bertrandville Drainage Canal project, an update on Gerald Street levee project, an update on the ring levees in Pierreport and Bell River, an update on Lee Drive project, as well as an update on the Shell Beach boat landing.
Motion to accept as read.
Second.
A motion by Mr. Pineville to accept the report,
Second.
second by Mr. Mathern, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Next item is public hearing report. We had a public hearing prior to tonight's meeting regarding the amendments to the Assumption Parish Code of Ordinances, Chapter 26, 47.8, 5 through 16, with regard to additional standards for manufactured mobile home parks or community requirements. There was no public hearing, no public comment during the public hearing. But this time I entertain a motion to accept the amendments as presented.
Motion.
Motion by Mr. Carter, second by Mr. Alcorn. All in favor? Opposed? Motion carried. Report on the internal strategy as it relates to organizational components of the Assumption Parish School District. Mr. Bartholomew?
John
Welcome.
Bartholomew.
Thank you, Mr. President. I would like to thank everyone for having us here. I have Mr. Honore Lewis, one of our board members, Ward 1, and I have Ms. Kat Ilquin. She's our Director of Curriculum and Instruction for Assumption Parish School System. I promise I will not keep you long, but I think it's extremely important that we have open lines of communication between all government entities. And I'm here today to kind of really open up some deep conversations about the current state that our Assumption Parish school system is in. I'm not here to talk about all the great things we've done, and I want to share one thing, but more importantly is a serious conversation about where we are and what type of school system do we want for our children. Because we really need to have an honest conversation about that. But before I get into the presentation, I'm very proud to announce this is one thing that I'm super excited about. In 2018, we had 0 children, 0, not one of our students earned a dual enrollment credit. That's in 2018. 2019, we had 5. 2020, we had 5. 2021, we had 13. I'm proud to announce this year we projected to have 272 dual enrollment courses earned by our children. That will save our community members, our parents, $163,000 in costs, college costs. So I'm super excited about that, and that number will continue to grow. Also, we want to make sure that we provide for industry. A lot of our students, those industry-based certifications, those credentials that they need to go into the workforce immediately, if they choose to, immediately after high school. And I want to get into it. So my presentation is really about some data that the school board has requested for me to collect over the last 4 or 5 months. My team have been collecting this data. I have been presenting to the school board, and any member of the community that wanted to attend could have attended these meetings. The first piece of data I want to talk about, when you look at Assumption Parish as a whole, when I look at our census data in 2010, we had around 23,000 people in our community. Fast forward to 2020, we had only 21,000, which is a decrease of around 2,300 on 10%. Now, how does that impact the school system? In 2013, we had around 300 students entering into our school system, kindergarten, early childhood, Head Start. Fast forward to 2023, we have only 203. So we went from 300 just 10 years ago, now we're down to 203. Follow me with my thoughts here. Now I also looked at not only the students entering into our school system, but what about the students? How are they progressing through the school year from early childhood all the way to 12th grade? Are we keeping those kids? So remember, we started in one cohort, 2020, the 2018 cohort, we had 303 that entered, we had 248 that exited. So we're losing kids coming into the school system, and we're also losing kids within the system itself to graduate. Where's the impact? Dollars, MFP from the state for us to run our school system. We had, in 2013, we had $23 million coming in from the state, around 23 million. 2022, 19 million. That's a decrease of almost $4 million. But yet we're running the same system with almost $4 million less. So how can you do that? You all deal with budgets all the time. Well, where's our biggest, the cost, the biggest cost is in personnel. So what we do, we cut librarians. We cut additional administrators. We cut programs, important programs. We cut mental health support resources. And the list goes on in order to keep functioning the way we are. Well, what does that do? Well, when you cut all of those resources, the dynamics of schools change. Because I remember when I had to go to see the counselor for a certain reason, whether it be guidance on what I want to become in life or for whatever reason, maybe I'm having a bad day. Now that person is no longer there. The work is still there. Then it falls onto that principal or onto that teacher. So I just wanted to kind of preference the student, because we get our allocation from the state based on student allotment. From the state, if we're decreasing students that are coming into our schools, that's less money. If we're losing people out of our parish and our schools, that's less money. But yet we're tasked with raising expectations, increasing test scores, while maintaining the same system. And what I did was a cost analysis per school. So when you look at each individual school, it costs us to educate each child. So what I did was, what does it cost us to educate each child in Assumption Parish school system? And I want to really focus on the enrollment compared to the dollar amount. Remember, we get money for our students enrolled in our schools. So when you have low enrollment, you have low dollars. What does that do? Drive the cost. What it costs to educate each child up. This is some numbers that I used our February 1 count of 2023, last year. And I'm gonna just give some numbers here. But the highest schools, the schools that cost us the most to educate. Oh, let me preface it by saying this. The state gives us around $7,200 to educate each child. But I'm gonna tell you what it costs us to educate each child in our parish. Bailors costs us about a little bit over $10,000 per child to educate. But remember, $7,200 is coming from the state. Pierre Port, the middle school costs us over $10,000 to educate per child. Melrose Primary, a little bit over $11,000 to educate per child. Melrose Middle, a little bit over $10,000 to educate per child. Those are some of our lowest enrollment schools. But when you look at the high school, 847 kids, it costs us only $6,300 to educate each child. Because the resources still need to be in a school. We still have to have assistant principal. We still have to have custodians. We still have, so if the number of students, if that's up, then that drives that cost down on a district. Also, when you look at smaller schools, you talk about teacher workload. Some of you in here may be related to teachers or married or you have an insight on what they deal with on a daily basis. The smaller schools, the teachers have to teach more preps. So when you think of more preps, increased workload. But when you have more students, that same teacher can teach less preps because they don't have to pick up additional courses. And right now, I looked at just kind of teachers, how many preps each teacher have. Like in Bayou Lewis, we have 2 teachers had 4 more preps. Belrose Primary, 4 more preps. Teachers with 3 or more preps. Belrose Middle. So you can see the enrollment is directly related to the funding and to teacher workload.
Yeah. I guess, alarm's going off.
Yeah. Thank you. And also what we looked at the big thing here is certified teachers. Listen, that's everywhere across the state, across the country. But in our parish, 51% of our non-certified teachers comes from some of our schools that have the least amount of kids. Because the work is harder. They have to do more work at some of the schools that have the least amount of kids. So who wants to do that for the same amount of money? It's hard. But what we did do, because we know that that was an issue, we incentivized. And that's something that I'm gonna talk about a little bit in the survey, from the survey. We gave $5,000 to any teacher who wanted to go work in a low performance school, any one of our schools that are struggling. And we incentivized $5,000 extra. On top of that, what we tried to do to support or to increase teachers in our school system, we created a grow your own model. I believe this, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I remember when I was in school, my teachers lived in the community. I used to go to the grocery store, I'd see my teacher. Church, I would see my teacher. So if we could create a grow our own model where we help our own citizens in Assumption Parish become certified, we're paying for their college tuition. We're paying for all of their tests that would take in order to need to become a teacher. And we're also paying, if you already have a degree, for your alternative certification, free of charge. All we ask is you work for us for at least 3 years after. We invest in you. And just think about that. If we could start growing our own, those individuals will live in a community, pay taxes in the community, and have children that go into our school system. So it is a challenge, but we're doing a lot of different things to try to combat that. In addition to that, the State Department has this unfunded mandate that's coming, requiring our administrators to do 3 times as much work they're doing right now. They will now have to go in not only to observe and provide feedback to their teachers. Now they have to go in and provide, not only observe, but they have to do it 3 times a year, and they have to create coaching cycles, and they have to follow up with other observations while they're coaching them. The question is, do we have the manpower currently right now in the current state that we're in, the setup that we have to carry out that work? And the State Department is not giving us any more money to do that. They say it's an unfunded mandate. On top of that, the State Department, the last proposal for the new accountability, we have a new governor, we have new direction, but the last proposal before Governor Landry took office will create, on average, a negative 16.7 points on a high school SPS, a negative 3.5 on a K-8 school. What does that mean? Assumption High School right now is a 92.4A. Even if we just decrease by the average, our school would be a 75.4C. And we could try, we could do everything, but if we don't do something different, I know they're working hard, teachers are working hard, administrators are working hard, but just taking the numbers that we have right now, our 92A, and you plug in those numbers into the new formula, it's going to be around a 75.4C. And in addition to that, the scale has changed. So they're making it harder to make an A from a accountability standpoint, but they're also moving the goalposts. So now, currently right now, through the fall of 2023, an A was a 90, all the way to 150. Fall 2024, and A is gonna go up to a 95 to 150. Beginning in fall of 2025, and A will start at 100. So automatically, it's like a double-edged sword. You're making it harder for make an A, and then it also our goal is actually being higher to do that. Any questions about that, this kind of presentation at the beginning of it? I need but 10 more minutes of your time and I'm out of here. All right. So we talked a little bit about a survey. I mentioned a survey. So we did ask our community members, hey, tell us what you want out of the school system. Tell us what we're not doing well. Tell us some things that we need to improve on. So out of the survey, we have 508 stakeholders take the survey. Around 27% were teachers, around 55% were parents. So the first question is, what are the greatest challenges or issues that Assumption Parish Schools has to address over the next 5 years? Number one, recruiting and retaining teachers. And I just talked about our plan. But is it enough? Because we gave 5,000 just to sign on with us. And we still haven't solved the problem. Now, I believe, and I use this analogy, I believe if we can grow our own model, after we start seeing those first few community members graduate, I believe we're gonna start reloading our teachers. Not having to recruit every year, but just reloading, not rebuilding. As they say in football, Nick Saban just reload, he doesn't rebuild. So if we could get it to where we reloading every year, that means if we could recruit and get some of our citizens in this program, maybe 4 or 5 teachers every year coming out of this program, I think we could sustain it and really keep certified teachers in the classroom and they're working in the community. One of the other concerns, teacher burnout. Remember I talked about teacher workload, how smaller schools, teachers have increased workload. Another concern was the aging facilities, and I'm proud to say that, you know, we getting ready to do a major overhaul in our Napoleonville schools. We have the security projects getting ready to come up where there's going to be a single point entry, no more walking on campuses and just being able to have access to all of our kids. Now we're trying to narrow that down and say you only could go one way in and one way out. And it's a holding area, so you're not just walking on campuses. And we want to expand that, not only in Napoleon, we did it because of the prison, especially with our Napoleonville middle and primary school, and then obviously with our high school. But then we need to expand that to all of our schools, and I'm planning on doing that. The next question was, what are the most important skills students should, need to know and be able to do as it relates to being prepared for a successful future? Number one was demonstrate basic life skills. That's what our constituents said. Number two, proficient in critical thinking, logical thinking, and problem-solving skills. Number three, demonstrate successful work-related skills such as appropriate dress, speech, punctuality, resume building, and interviewing. Number four, demonstrate mature level of self-discipline. And number five was proficient in communicating effectively in various situations. What evidence do you use to evaluate the quality of education? Number one, going back to teacher turnover, degree of teacher/staff turnover. Number two, how administrators deal with issues within the school system, within their schools. Number three, opportunities offered to students beyond the required curriculum. Number four, discipline issues. Number five, the welcoming atmosphere upon entering the school. And I'm taking all of this information and I'm going to update my strategic plan, which I've kind of shared with you all in the past. What are the financial priorities? Number one, increase staff salary. Now remember, we have 27% of our faculty took this survey, which I'm not opposed to that, but I want to say this. When you look at our surrounding parishes, St. Mary Parish, Lafourche Parish, Terrebonne Parish, Assumption Parish pays more on the back end. So we give our step increase to our teachers and our faculty members. That step increase is higher in Assumption Parish than any of our surrounding parishes. We may not start off as high, but when our teachers get ready to retire, they're retiring at a higher pay. Around year 12, around 13 or 14, that's when it changes over, even though we may start. So there's some work on our end that we need to raise our beginning pay because on the back end, our pay is real good. Provide staff in the need of support, provide maintenance for improving existing facilities, and provide funding necessary to meet or reduce current teacher-student ratio. And I asked this last couple questions here. Should students have the options? Because we have some parents in our parish who elect to homeschool their kids. But I think we're doing them a disservice if we don't try to keep them a part of the school. For example, what I'm saying is a student currently right now who is not in our school system, they don't participate in our programming, extracurricular activities, co-curricular activities. But if we have an opportunity or an avenue for them to stay connected, even though a parent elected to homeschool a kid, they still could enjoy FFA. They still could enjoy playing sports. They still could enjoy the things that our kids, just because a parent elected to homeschool a kid, I don't think they should be denied an opportunity to participate in extracurricular and co-curricular activities. And the other program is, it talks about creating an early college option program. And that was 44% of our parents say, yes, we want that. An early college option program where kids can now enroll in Assumption Parish school system, and almost pretty much 100% of their coursework is geared towards earning an associate's degree, early college. So those is called a Louisiana transfer degree. You take that transfer degree and you can go to any one of our public, quote unquote, universities as a sophomore. So again, that's saving the parents 2 years. So I want to put this as a dollar amount to this. So if you qualify for TOPS, or if you have a scholarship and you take advantage of this type of program in Assumption Parish, you now can apply your TOPS, your Pell Grant, or whatever you qualify, your scholarship, not only to your last 2 years of college, but also for your master's degree. So you basically, if you take advantage of this opportunity, you can also if you qualify for any type of grants, you will go to college for free and earn a master's degree. So that concludes kind of like my presentation. I just wanted, and I've been presenting this to the board for the last several weeks. I talked to the chamber, and out of respect and our partnership that we do have, I need to come to you all as well and let you know what's going on in the school system. I'm excited, but I think we still need to look at it from a financial standpoint and also a service standpoint. Because if we don't have a conversation about what is best for our children, we're going to continue to go down a path where we're not providing services. Because I have to cut $870,000 again this year. And how you do that with the current state that we're in, and I think we need to change some of that and start investing back in our schools. I come from an educational background, educational standpoint. We ran it from a financial standpoint. I don't believe in that. I believe we need to give back, put the resources back into our schools, give the teachers and administration the support they need. Not only that, provide the programs that our parents are asking for, because it makes for a well-rounded child. So I'm not asking for anything. I just want you to hear me out, and I want you to understand the facts, because if you ever having conversations at the dinner table or at church or at a game, I just need you to have the facts and be able to speak to it when asked. Or even defer to me, and I'll come over and I'll explain. But I want to get as much information out as possible so people can have the information they need to make informed decisions. The next step here, the board has directed me to create a proposal of basically saying, taking all this data in, and creating a better school system for Assumption Parish. So that's what I'm doing right now. My team, I'm very excited. I have Ms. Kathy here, but I have a tremendous team working on this information and helping me create this proposal. From there, it goes to the board. The board, obviously could add, take away from it. And then from there, we need to make a decision. Either we're going to continue down the path we're on, or we're going to try to create a system that's different, a system that our community and our students could be proud of. So.
I have a question for you. So I understand, we see the same population decrease, in from the 2020 census. I guess the question I have for you is, do you see, I guess, the same decrease in students if you separate it between primary, middle, and high school? Is that decrease consistent across, or do we have more primary students? I guess I'm just trying to get a feel for, is our primary school improving and maybe high school dropping, you know, as the age, is there a wave that's going through the system right now?
There is an exit in 8th grade. But when you look at our primary schools, they're pretty much consistently keeping the kids within the school itself. So for example, if I don't know, let's say Belrose Primary School, students that enter into Belrose Primary, normally they would stay all the way through Belrose Primary. Same thing for any of our other schools. But there is some change there because parents leave, you know, the community, so they take the kids out. So there is some change there, but also parents come into the community. So to say that our primary schools have a higher or lower rate of students leaving, I would say no, they do not. The challenge is when the kids get a little bit older in middle school and beyond in high school.
Like, so say since 2018, and I know you don't have these numbers now, but like from 2018, the number of students entering kindergarten in 2018 versus 2023. Is that a pretty consistent number, increase or decrease?
No, it's not consistent, it's a decrease. So I'll give you these numbers right here. So 2018 cohorts, go back 12 years. So those group of kids were 303. 2019 cohort was 298. 2020 cohort, this is all entering, 270. 2021 cohort, 242. Now we had a jump in 2022 where we entered 277, but then we dropped again in 2023 to 263. And I also want to preface this by saying students age 0 to 4 have decreased as well. Also, our parents who are having kids, that age group has decreased. You know, whatever that age group is, that 20, 18, 19, or 40, 45. And what has increased is our residents age 65 and older. So that population increased, but I hate to say childbearing, but our age, the age of families that are having kids, those ages have decreased, which has decreased the enrollment into the school system in that population from 0 to 4 years old.
So you're losing the gap, but you're really not losing the gap because you don't have the baby boomers anymore. That's what you're saying. But you do have some hurdles.
Yeah.
You got some hurdles.
Challenges.
From the jury standpoint, is there any resources that you're looking from the state legislatures, which they can help? I mean, you got some hurdles.
Yeah. Right now, you know, we've looked at this problem. Again, I'm going back and say it again from a financial standpoint. I think we need to look at it from an educational standpoint and ask ourselves, what's best for our children? Not from a pocket stand, not putting more money in the thing, but what resources we need in schools so they can have a better quality education. Because when I talk to parents, that's what parents want. Parents want a better experience for their children. But we can't have a better experience with our children with the same dollar amount coming in and all the different things that we have in place. So we're not, unless we cut. And we've seen where we are now as a result of it.
You need to give your delegation, I mean, us as a police jury association, we're totally against any unfunded mandates. Any unfunded mandate. You gonna shove it down our throat? Pay us for it. And, you know, the delegation on the school system all the same way, especially for parents like us.
Yeah.
You don't have the resources.
No.
They gotta go out, you're in a hole, and you gotta go out and hire more people for unfunded mandates, which is baloney. But you're working hard.
Yeah, working on. But I just wanted to share that with you.
Appreciate
Got
it.
anything, Mr. McDonald?
No.
Yeah. Just wanted to share this with everyone, because I've been communicating to the board and, you know, obviously, you all are just as important to the community and to us. So I definitely want to make sure. Thank you again for your time and I really appreciate it. Sorry, I know I went over a bit, but this is extremely important because we're talking about the future of our schools.
You did
So,
good.
thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thanks, sir.
Next item, request approval of variance for manufactured home park administrative fee requirement an amount of $500 on the property located at 140A, Highway 1011 in Ward 4 and 134A, Mary Ann Street, Ward 9.
Yeah, this was a trailer park that's been there for many years. They've been paying they've been paying taxes to the fire for many years. And they just moved in one trailer. Now we want them to pay $500 fee. I think we ought to, have them pay it.
Justin, can you maybe elaborate a little bit on what this
Just a
is?
mobile home?
Yeah, it's just a mobile home, right?
Yeah, so this is the
One
properties
trailer.
we talked about the other day, Ms. Jones here. They are requesting, they're the ones we gave the variance for Mary Ann Street and Highway 1011 for the fencing and the aggregate parking, which we did away with earlier this meeting anyway. But so when you move a mobile home out and you move a new one in, it needs to come up with the standards. We discussed that last time. And these are older properties that had never come up to our standards before. And so it's like you're creating a new mobile home park. And so what we've always done is when that happens, we charge a $500 administrative fee. So it'd be $1,000, actually, it'd be $500 for each park. And so she's asking for a variance from that fee, even though they'd be recognized as a mobile home
She's
park.
just taking a trailer out, put a new one in.
I think we gave them a break on the variance, with moving the old one out, putting a new one in, not having up to park standards. It's a one-time fee, $500. I think, everybody, what a trailer park should pay the fee.
Against it. They've been paying taxes in the parish.
Everybody pay this. It's a trailer park. It's still a trailer park. It's gonna continue to be a trailer park. It's coming up to parish standards. I'm for the $500.
Yeah.
I'm for it.
I can see if it was a new trailer park that I was trying to establish in the parish, and like it would be a surprise to the neighbors, but it's not. It is an existing, one of them was already a trailer park when we purchased it. And when was this ever brought up? Like, when was this $500 fee ever, when did that come into effect? When did it became an ordinance?
As far as I know, sometime around 2005,
So in 2005?
sometime around. Katrina, I
Okay,
think
so
that's when-
2005 is when we bought the property on Highway 1011. That's when we created that trailer park on Highway 1011. When I say trailer park, I mean 4 spots.
Yeah, anything over 2 is considered.
Right, that's right. Okay, well, that's what I'm talking about. But that was in 2005. No one had asked us or gave us anything to say, oh, y'all need to pay $500 fee for a mobile home park. And the same thing, the other one on Mary Ann Street in Pierreport, we bought it as a trailer park. So it was a pre-existing trailer park. So whether they paid the fee, I have no idea. No one asked us to pay a fee for either one of those. And believe me, I have gone to the OEP office many times for every property. I try to do everything by the book. I'm not gonna mention names that people don't do things by the book, but I faithfully try to do everything by the book. Okay, I think asking me to pay $500 administrative fee for either one of these or both of these, it's just not fair. It's just not fair. They're not new. If I was to create a new mobile home park, I would be fine paying it. I would pay the $500. I don't have a problem with that. But these are pre-existing, been pre-existing. It's Highway 1011 was 2005 and Mary Ann was 2013. That's 10 years on Mary Ann and 18 years for Highway 1011.
That you've been owning this.
That I've been owning it.
And been paying taxes.
And paying taxes. But the Mary Ann one, I bought 10 years ago, but it was a mobile home park before that. It was owned by Mr. Crochet, Barry Crochet. Whether he paid that fee, I have no idea. But the OEP office never asked me for that fee. But now since I moved the old one in and want to move a newer one in, trying to make the neighborhood look better, I'm being asked to pay $500 fee. I'm not creating a new mobile home park. This is a pre-existing.
They should have charged you back then.
Correct, but that's not my fault. That is not my fault. I do everything by the book.
I don't know that the ordinance was in place then. I wasn't here to speak on it. I can't
It
find.
was back 2005.
Yeah, it all depends
But I don't
on
know
when she
when the
came.
ordinance,
when the ordinance-
when they created versus when the ordinance was.
I got a board on the floor to weigh in $500.
I don't have any paperwork on it being created as a mobile. Oh,
Not all the way for us to enforce it when something like this comes up.
Yeah, whenever a change is made is when they typically would enforce it in the past.
It's been a long time.
But
I mean,
are you familiar enough with the language in the ordinance as it refers to the $500 fee, or what triggers a $500 fee? Is it?
the ordinance says anytime a change to the property, whether a structure is moved in or out, is made, basically they have to come up to whatever the ordinance standards are, and they've always told me if that would be the fee if it was never paid. But, you know, that's what I would do. That's
Now,
part of-
previously this
part of
year,
the ordinance.
I had moved an old one out and a new one in on Marianne Street, right next to the one that I'm also moved one out, putting one in. And it was not brought to my attention then either. Previously this year was not brought to my attention until these two.
We owe us 1,000 on that one.
That's the same mobile home park.
If they
Is
catch
that
some, they
supposedly
catch-
per
they don't
mobile
catch
home
some.
park, I think, unless that changed, that could change.
I got a motion for the way $500
All
fee.
right, I hear your motion, we'll speak. I just want to make sure
So, right.
I just don't, I don't see that it's right that we're having somebody pay an additional fee for an existing park when they're trying to put a better house, a better trailer in the park.
Yeah.
It's if there was something that we had to, you know, if it was an expansion, something like that, I think that's different, but I mean, we have, quite a few of these mobile home parks that
Yeah, I would love to see
predate this ordinance.
Love to see
You
new
know how many
trailers.
people paid that just recently?
I understand that for a new trailer park,
No, for existing trailer park, because they moved one out and put another one in.
I'm not aware of any.
I know,
What
I
is
know
it
one or
for?
two,
What is that fee for?
because they tore one trailer down, bought another one and moved it in, right? And they had to bring everything up the trailer park and they had to pay the $500.
No,
Yeah,
what
but
does the
what is it-
$500 fee apply to?
What's it for?
Justin, how much time have you expended just on this issue alone?
Uh,
Probably 10 to 15 hours?
I mean, maybe not that much, but a couple hours.
I know you and I have talked about it
Yes.
for at least 2 hours. So if you just thought it on administrative time alone to review the requests that have made and the variance that has already been granted, I don't know how you can really say that you're going to waive a fee that has already been incurred. Gentlemen, I recommend against continuing down this path with these mobile homes. If you want to do away with it, like you've discussed it, do that, but you need to remain consistent. Because like Mr. Carter said, people are out there paying it, doing the things you're not granting variances to. A person comes and complains, that's their right to do so. However, we need to uphold our standards. If you do not uphold the standards, do not have the ordinance. Period.
No, I understand.
I agree.
I just wasn't aware of any, that had to pay the fee or requested a variance.
From my
Right.
understanding,
It's business
it's
as
always
normal,
happened.
All right, so there is a motion on the floor by Mr. Mathern to waive the $500 fee. Is there a second? All right, motion dies for lack of a second. Adopt resolution authorizing the Secretary Treasurer to purchase government securities for the Parish UBS Financial Services, Inc. lamp.
So move.
Motion by Mr. Nakam. Second by Mr. Diaz, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Request approval of an occupational license for Purpose Plumbing LLC located in Prairieville and Caldwell Environmental Solutions LLC based in Baton Rouge.
So move.
Motion by Mr. Nakam
Second.
to accept, second by Mr. Carter, all in favor? Opposed? Motion carried. Request approval of proclamation proclaiming January 28th through February 3rd, 2024 as Catholic Schools Week. Motion by Mr. Alcorn, second by Mr. Bros. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Update on mosquito abatement services and fees.
So, I've been working on it a little bit. Miss Melissa helped me out today and she came up with a kind of cost analysis for having our employees spray and what it costs this year to have them spray. They sprayed about 1,200 hours and it costs about 46,847. If we were to get, outsource it at $20 an hour. I still didn't gauge if there was any interest yet, but it would be about $11,000 cheaper based on the hours we did this year. That's just the one thing. I still have to compare chemical prices on switching them up and a couple other things. And Mr. Ponville has been asking me to find a chemical we can spray at lower temperatures so that there is really none below 50. I contacted a couple people and I was suggested one is called Ramoa. And it does state in the label that you can, that it's recommended you spray at cooler temperatures, but even the sole source provider told me he wouldn't spray it under 50 because the mosquitoes just aren't that active at that temperature. So that's my update I have now. Hopefully next week I can have all of the cost analysis done and we can make a decision on it.
What's the, explosion of mosquitoes recently?
So under 50 degrees. Because of the rain.
Huh? It's
Because of the
under
rain.
50?
The rain?
Well, I mean, okay, so
No, I'm talking about.
when you walking through the grass and you disturb them, they coming out.
You see what's on the highway, man, there's big
So we
swarms.
spray them in the ditches like you recommended. That's larvicide, and we need to start spraying better after bad rains. We need to get on spraying. Possibly if we increase these funds, at some point, maybe getting another truck to do that, because the truck we have is, we only have one. And it takes him about 2 weeks, 3 hours a day from when he gets off work until nighttime to spray it. So it's about a 2-week period. Now, the chemical he's spraying is supposed to last for 30 days, but that's, you know, you just kind of guesstimating a 3-foot ditch by 3 foot, and they all not the same size. We just took a rough guess.
So the ditch you spraying, is that, you can do that anytime during the day?
You do that anytime. I mean, you can do that at night, but it's, you ain't gonna be able to see as much. So we can do it during the day.
I'd be a job for a contract, you knock it out in a week, possible.
Yeah, I mean, but it's something that needs to be reapplied, especially after heavy rain.
Just do a little bit.
And I mean, that's the best method of abatement, is because the mosquitoes are all in the water. They haven't taken flight yet. They're not hiding under rock. They're all in the water. And so it helps if people overturn anything holding water at their house, every little bit helps. People don't do that, and
You know,
I guess we gotta let-
still buy you or swamp.
yes, I mean, but
That's pretty much
if
the whole
you're in
package.
if you're in a swamp or bayou, they don't breed in moving water.
No, I'm talking about within, like town, I mean.
They don't breed in moving water, and anything with like any kind of other animal in it or will eat them. So it has to be like a,
Standing water.
yeah, like standing water, that's, you know, or a ditch with, that's.
Try something. We need to
Okay.
try something.
Yeah, I mean, we just have to do better with spraying the larvicide.
Yeah, that spray, that didn't work either, huh?
Any
And
progress
we have to
on
switch up the chemicals.
coming up with a plan that correlates count with the spraying schedule?
Other than what I mentioned to y'all, the landing rate counts, nothing past that, other than we can.
I just
Start
think
doing
something
it
that's
if
what
we
we need
find
to
enough.
explore a little bit more to
Yeah, if we
set
can
the
find
schedule
enough
so that we're
people
not
to
just
do it.
spraying in areas that don't really have mosquitoes just because the other area still has them and we're spraying all
Yes.
over because we have a concentration in a smaller area.
Yeah, so I mean, it would have to be, we start at a certain, certain time of the year when we see they start getting bad, we start doing landing rates. We just need people to do them.
Okay, I think that should be part of our plan moving forward.
Yeah, that was on the sheet I handed y'all last week. I just haven't updated it anymore since then, but hopefully next week I will have all of that in a better plan form, like better.
If you could distribute it to
Written
us
out.
before the meeting so that we have a little time to review it.
I will try.
All right. Thank you. Request approval to authorize Joe Ross to access Geotab vehicle tracking system. Mr. Fonville?
So I'll put this on the agenda. I would like to see, especially like in Justin's case, where we got mosquito trucks going out, different routes each and every night. That way, whenever a resident asks us, well, or tell us that my street haven't been sprayed in over a month, we can go back to the Geotab and show them. Or we could even put it on our Facebook page where we are showing the residents what they are paying for. Now, I did think, other parishes integrated, I'm not sure what programs they use, but they have it to where it'll show what route is being sprayed that night. And it'll even show them our spray. And
I don't think it's
that's all
through
I wanna
geotag.
do is get the news out to the residents to show them that we are doing our part on it.
And again, this costs money, but I would have to see exactly how they do it. I think it's like through our GIS and
Jimmy,
maybe,
Orleans Parish puts out an email to their residents, it's when they're spraying and what routes they're spraying.
Just something
Well,
to,
we just want
better
to see it.
communication with our
I don't wanna
residents.
see it, you know?
Huh?
That's all we gotta do is just, on
That's
your,
like
on
you
your
see it.
page, on the Facebook page or whatever, put down what the routes gonna be for the week. What day, what area they come cover.
Consistently. Based on
Yeah.
weather.
so like I said, I need a program and,
You can do it, you can just take a picture off your map, your geotag.
no, but all this other stuff
Do
is
the trip
interactive. It's
history,
really-
just take a screenshot and put it on Facebook
Okay. That's after the route's been done.
after the route's been done. But they should follow that same route each and every time they spray.
Yeah, for the most part.
Right?
Next item is request approval of the following liquor license application. Angela's down the bayou. 33025 Highway 1 White Castle. Doing business as Chamber of Commerce Catering.
So move.
Motion by Mr. Alcorn,
Second.
second by Mr. Carter. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? We have one deviation
Yes.
that, well, the one that I have relates to the tornado and the debris cleanup from Laverdeville.
I have one for, the Tom Place Groceries. Got a name change and
All right, so a second deviation, reference a name change for Someplace Market and Grocery,
Yes.
and we had
I have drainage at Murray and also Lower Tech.
all right.
You're
We wanna,
right, you're right. Before we start with all these. It's a new year, we need to get things on the agenda and not do all these. I know the tornado one is emergency, that's something different.
name change, maybe be, for, we have to have that.
This is part of the drainage. Drainage.
all right, so yours relates to the tornado in that area, and
Is there a certain deadline for the name change?
Yeah, that's what that.
all right, motion to deviate,
So move. Second.
motion by Mr. Mathern, second by Mr. Bro, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right, so the first item is relates to the debris pickup, from the tornado. I had some discussions with Mr. LeBlanc and our OEP director regarding, how we would, pick up the debris. So, for Hurricane Ida, right, we activated DRC to pick up the debris. For the 2016 tornado in Pankerville, the parish collected all of the debris, brought it to Ezekiel Street, where a contractor then took it to a landfill. So,
Keep in mind that if we decide to use the Ezekiel Street, we have to get other state agencies involved, DEQ and such.
sure. So I've already had communications with Paul regarding notifying DEQ, starting the process. That way, if we need to use Ezekiel, that it's already there. The question that we have to have as a jury is, do we want to activate DRC to pick up roadside? Do we want to have the parish bring it to Ezekiel, then get DRC or some other contractor to get it from the Ezekiel transfer site to dispose of it? I know the DRC rates are based on emergency circumstances, and I'm not sure how those rates would compare with someone for the amount of debris that we have. The estimate from DRC was about 5,000 cubic
5,000
yards.
cubic yards, and they're supposed to email me, our approximate cost. I haven't received it yet. We'll probably get it tomorrow, and I'll be happy to forward that to the police area once I receive it. We're not committing anything. We're just trying to get an idea of cost.
Sure, so I guess the question is now is, do we just proceed in activating the Ezekiel transfer site, have the parish pick up the debris, get it there, and then we'll work with the contractor after that to get it transferred to a landfill? Or do
What's
we
the
want to
majority
authorize?
of debris?
All right, so
Vegetation?
let me give you a quick update as far as the tornado goes. Carol Jupiter was working closely with the residents. So we have eight addresses with debris. You got a business and a fire department. And it's all within the Supreme area.
Vegetation, C and D.
Yes, sir.
What do you think? 75% vegetation? 50%?
Probably half.
50.
50-50.
Yes. And also 1014 is involved in that also. It's not just Supreme, it's 1014.
Right.
1014, but
We have some ditches. Well, the first thing you gotta do, I mean, we have a side curtain incinerator. We ain't paying nobody to pick up trees, my opinion. Pick up trees and haul trees to landfill. That's absurd. We got a grant, we got a side curtain incinerator, and they'll burn, and we'll get a permit
We
to
just have to
burn.
get the permits, that's
Yeah.
correct.
We don't need, we don't need to incur an expense. I mean, DRC ain't gonna be cheap. I know that.
Not with C
In-house
and
gonna be a
D,
lot cheap.
not with C and D.
C and D, you just gotta separate it when you get to get to Ezekiel, which you'll have the okay to do that, you know? And then we might just bring up a truck to send it to, either landfill, or whoever's gonna be the cheapest to go with. All of ourselves. No, we don't have time, no, we got a lot of drainage projects. If it is a tornado that hit, it's gonna cost a lot of money to try to contract it out. It won't be cheap, but we can't afford it. We can't afford it. Solid Waste Fund can't afford
and
it.
bear in mind, there's no state of emergency, so there is no funds. The parish is gonna eat
No,
this.
we gotta eat. The only emergency, we gotta just get it off the roadside.
Right,
you
right.
know? And, I will get the ball rolling, get the approval from DEQ, or whoever you need to get with to let Ezekiel serve as a staging area. Start hauling. You gotta start hauling. You gotta haul it in-house. We did it. We did it before. We did it before. It's gonna take a little manpower. Haul it. Put your vegetation close to the incinerator. Get your permit, start burning. The C and D stuff, we just,
We store it.
yeah, I mean, we got that big Texas trailer. We could use one man. We don't have a whole lot of manpower. It'd be Ezekiel. It's not gonna be out the way. It's gonna be out the way. You follow me? And we just nip at it.
What trailer you haul that in for?
We've got a 30-yard, dump trailer, gooseneck trailer. We've got, about a 12-yard also, but the 30-yard has a tarp. It can be utilized to do that.
Yeah, I
All
mean-
across the bridge. Like you say, you do it, it would take a couple of weeks for one man to do it, make trips, just continue to make trips.
Right, just another point to make, you know, in reviewing the Waste Depot contract. There's an exclusion in there for, you know, tornado debris in that contract for an EF3 or greater. So by contract, Waste Depot still has to pick up some of this debris at their 4 cubic yards twice a month.
This has been declared by the National Weather Service as a tornado F0, 80-mile-an-hour winds. I've got that documentation from the federal government.
So I guess I just want to let everybody know, if Waste Depot comes and says that they're not picking up this tornado debris, contract says that they should be picking up this tornado debris at their 4 cubic yards per week. It's just, we can't wait the 6 months that it'll take
No.
for them to pick it up.
Exactly.
So we're basically doing them a favor, getting rid of some of it, but they still need to run the route in this area and pick up the 4 cubic yards from each resident in the area.
Sir, Jeff, if you need that documentation from the National Weather Service, I can get it to you. That's not a problem.
Not a question I got. Well, Supreme, 1011, Highway 1, and 1014, that's all state roads.
State roads.
It's not a state emergency.
That's all state roads. Why wouldn't the state come in and clean it up? I mean, I know I had to go back from 2016 in Bankerville. I mean, we had to do
We
it.
picked it up, correct.
I mean, I can
Yeah.
contact the DOTD state debris manager tomorrow. That's not a problem.
Do that. Do that. Reach out, see what happens. It won't
I'll
hurt.
call him on the way home tonight.
Because in a hurricane, they got a pre-event contract for state highways. Yeah, do that.
They probably will tell you it's not declared a state emergency.
I got it.
But we can at least document that we reached out to.
Won't cost them to reach out, but I mean, if that gets shot down, you need something.
All
Or
right, so,
see that your eyes, but get your permit.
so I have a motion by Mr. Nakane to activate Ezekiel Street as the, transfer site and get the permit to begin the incineration.
First, correct.
Second.
Second by Mr. Diaz. Any public comment? Second call. All in favor?
All right.
Opposed? Motion carried. Second item under deviation is a name change from Templates Market and Grocery.
They were on that first one, I think Mr. Brew wanted to add something.
Yeah,
You thumbed it out.
I'll come to it.
Carry on.
So, this the trade name is Templates Market and Grocery. The owner name change,
The owner name.
Ownership change. Ownership change
Oh, the name.
to Candace Alterio.
Yeah,
A motion by Mr. Mathern.
yes.
Second.
Second by Mr. Pineville. Any public comment regarding this item? Second call, all in favor? Opposed? Motion carried. Mr. Brew?
Yeah, we still have a problem with Murray Canal. On there. It's, on Georgette Street, there's still waters, they've been pumping constantly, and it's not working. So, there's two projects, that and, Little Texas. We have to do something here, and, CJ Sawwa was dismissed from all of this, but I would like to see him reactivate and come in and study these, and I would like to get with him on all the plans he has for those two areas. And Supreme area too, that's coming to, Isle of Fouche, in my ward. But there's debris all over there too, and it's in the ditches, big ditches.
Right, as regards to the debris, is that something that y'all aware of to get the debris out of those?
Yesterday, out of the drainage ditches behind. And to the issue with the water on Georgette, the power was out at Supreme, so we only had one big pump running back across the end.
But that thing's been running constantly.
Yes, sir. It usually has three
Still
pumps to pump
water,
that. When the
but-
electric came back on last
The
night, so
thing is, this is all gravity drainage. And if you have your canals open, the Lake Barrett and Bayou Lafourche and all, it should flow very nicely, especially with a large rain, because you'll clean it out. But it's too much debris in the ditches.
if you notice, that's
All
what,
of them.
that's what that long reach is there for, digging that. You're right, there is a lot of build up.
But no, not just there, I'm talking about going to Lake Barrett,
Yeah.
all the way down.
That water's all force drained to Bayou Lafourche from
And then,
the back to Barre.
Some of it, some of it, that's by Supreme. And those culverts under the highway are gone. I have one by my house. It's been broken, I reported that 8 years ago. To Patrick, it's in that front yard where he's renting, my cousin. And that's been broken, and the highway is even sinking there.
Yeah, that's on Highway 1.
And
Correct.
you
That's what
have
we
to
talking
drain,
about.
dig it out, get some cameras if you want to see what the hell's going on.
That's a state right away.
I had water in my yard all the way to halfway in my front yard. But it's a small oak tree in my yard. With this little rain we had. Now, you're supposed to start worse at midnight to 2 o'clock in the morning. And the people went out, back Murray and all, they would have been in big trouble because you still have water under their house.
That
I'd like
pump
to
over there,
get-
is no redundancy back there? No
So-
electricity, no electricity, no.
So we have two electrics and one
gas.
propane. It's not natural gas, it's one propane. So we had, the electric's completely disabled because there's no power.
Right.
So you have one propane to run off of. And there's a gravity drain below it, but the head pressure from Bayou Lafourche would have been greater to held the water back anyway.
That's a flat gate.
As a flap gate. It got stuck open before, so we had to make sure it wasn't open. But all we had running was the one natural gas, which pumps, I think they're rated at 30,000 gallons a minute per pump. So it was doing everything it could. I was in contact with Energy. Last night, I put that pump back online, 7:30 PM. She called me and said electricity was back up. So that means we had two. We had one motor that was burned up. Tomorrow, they're gonna take the motor off of the gas pump because it's a two-stage system. We're gonna transfer it to the center pump. We'll be back up on 3. The waters went down drastically. It was over the road because they were pulling trees out. They shut the pump down to not pull against the canal as much. So it will be 3 pumps possibly tomorrow running at one time. But I can tell you there's about $2,000 worth of propane. And we're less than 50% of the tank with the amount of fuel that we're burning to continuously run
But
it.
if you
So,
open the canals that where the water's supposed to go, it'll go.
so,
That's what's wrong. You can't just pump here and there and it's coming back.
so
That's what y'all doing.
coming down Maury is from the other end. Where's the
To the
outlet?
Supreme Canal. And that's all been condemned for years, since Supreme is out of operation. And it goes both ways, to the back and to the front, because I lived there all my life.
No, I'm just
So,
asking. I was
so Mr.
trying-
Bro, what I maybe ask you is.
I would like to
Mr. Blankenship-
reactivate Savoy engineers on that project.
Well,
but
they already
designed
on the
it.
project.
Yeah, but they designed it. And I want to study their designs with,
Right, so I guess what I'm asking is, you know, if Mr. Blankenship and Mr. Sidewalk can make some time to meet with you to go over what they have.
Yeah.
Well, gladly, I was gonna clarify that the Monterey and Lower Texas project, prior to the new jury coming in, if you all recall, there was some aspects of that project that were gonna be done, I'm gonna say with in-house labor. So we made some adjustments to the engineering fee schedules as well as the scope of work plans. That has been worked out. Those contracts have been re-signed by the parish. And so I will get with Mr. Bro now to update him on those scopes and what we're doing with that water and how we're gonna be addressing it.
And we were following Joseph's schedules or plan. We were following it. We weren't deviating from that. We were following as per his previous instruction.
So if we have the plans, why Mr. Sabah needs to get involved in it?
You have the plans for the, you
I
have the
want to study
plans.
them with them and see what else we can do. I also have an engineering degree from USL. And so I have experiences in that, but I'd like to study it and see what else can be done, because what's been done, it ain't working.
There's still a scope of design for both the Monterey project and Lower Texas that will require bidding and not be able to be done in-house. That is the portion that we have reduced the engineering fees accordingly. And that is the new scope of work and design that was agreed to by the parish with us, prior to this meeting.
All right,
Motion to adjourn.
motion adjourned, Mr. Diaz, second by Mr. Palmville, all in favor?
All right.
Opposed?